Chapter 85. Bang! Ching Er's frail body continued to shake, and it was difficult to control. After landing on the ground, she hurriedly retreated, and finally crashed into the statue at the side of the plaza. Blood flowed out of her mouth, and her chi became chaotic. Looking at the demonic pig guard that was approaching, Ching Er gritted her teeth. In terms of cultivation, Ching Er, who was at the second stage of the Spirit Core disciple, was far above the demonic pig guard. However, the demonic pig guard had many treasures, and they were all extremely strange treasures from the demonic realm. Although Ching Er was the Su family's mistress, because of her lowly birth, she was not valued by the main family. She was only nurtured as a seedling talent. She did not have many treasures, so she was not a match for the demonic pig guard. The Su family suffered heavy casualties. Ching Er knew that if they continued to fight, the Su family would all die. She could only shout, "Everyone retreat, return to the center of the plaza, and meet up with Madam Headmaster and the rest. Let's resist together. Do as Miss says. Young Master should be fine. Let's retreat. Protect Miss, let's retreat together." The people of the Su family shouted. They huddled together and rushed backwards. In the middle of the arena, Madam Headmaster and the man in the blood-red cloak were engaged in a battle. The two of them flew in the air and frantically attacked each other. Rays of purple chi techniques and blood-red techniques intertwined with each other. It was like two torrents colliding. The scene was exceptionally magnificent. The profound spirit chi that the two of them emitted was like a mountain falling from the sky. No one dared to be below them, or else they would be crushed by the two almighty chi. The other representatives and students were not having it easy either. At every moment there were people being sacrificed. The students gathered with the teacher as the center, and resisted the demons that were rushing over. Fortunately, most of the demons that attacked them were corpse-eating demons, inferior creatures that were greedy for food. Most of the demonic experts had gone to attack the Mu family. Mu Feng was surrounded by the Mu family guards who were fighting to the death. The ground was littered with the corpses of the Mu family members, and the ground was covered with blood. Every time a demon died, another would appear, wave after wave, and there was no end to it. Mu Feng's face was pale and his eyes were filled with fear. He hurriedly opened the storage ring on his finger and threw out one life-saving treasure after another. He also threw out the soul stone that he had prepared earlier. A large number of powerful soul stone appeared. Whether it was wind tigers or ice eagles, there were more than a dozen of them. Their appearance alleviated the pressure on the Mu family. However, this was only temporary. Even with the help of the soul stone, it would still be difficult to turn the situation around. Quick! Help the Mu family. Don't let these despicable and evil demonic chi practitioners succeed. You must protect young Master Mu. Madame Purple Star shouted anxiously as she fought fiercely in the air. The Mu family's influence in the mystical mountain range was too great. In this sudden change of academic exchange, it didn't matter who died, but the Mu family and the Soulless sect were the two major forces. Nothing must happen to them. Otherwise, her Purple Star Academy would not have peace. After the teacher heard this, he did not hesitate. He brought the students and rushed over to support Mu Feng. "Hey! Who will protect me? I am the young master of the Su family. If I die, your Purple Star Academy will be finished. Someone come quickly." With his leg injured, Su Huiyu limped towards the center of the plaza. As he shouted, he looked around in fear. The weapon in his hand was trembling non-stop. Whenever a demonic being approached him, he would immediately throw out the few precious treasures in his bag. He was unwilling to throw those things away before. However, at this moment, his life was more important. He had already lost his ability to fight. He was like a bird startled by the mere twang of a bough. At this moment, everyone was in danger. Who would care about Su Huiyu? A single horn on his head, a tall and big demonic chi cultivator holding a bone axe rushed over and chopped directly at Su Huiyu. Su Huiyu's face immediately turned pale from fear. He let out a miserable scream. "Young Master Huiyu!" Qing Er was startled. She quickly looked over. Su Huiyu was chopped to the ground. Both of his hands were holding onto the weapon, resisting the demonic chi cultivator's big bone axe. His lips were trembling and his hands were swaying. He could not resist the demonic chi cultivator's big axe. His weapon was also swaying loosely. Soon, he could not hold on anymore. "Young Master Huiyu!" Qing Er was anxious. She rushed over. Su Huiyu could not die. If he died here, Qing Er would not be able to escape the blame. But Qing Er was just about to turn her body when she realized that she could not move her legs. She looked down. She did not know when, but two white bone hands had extended out from the ground. They were tightly grabbing onto her ankles. She could not move at all. This is the demonic chi cultivator's mystical technique? Qing Er's eyes widened. She muttered. Swoosh. The demon pig guard's humongous hammer directly smashed towards Qing Er's side. The thick and fierce demonic chi directly pounced over, like a huge wave crashing down. In that split second, Qing Er could not dodge. If she did not care about Su Huiyu, how could she be grabbed by the bone hands? During a battle, the most taboo was to be distracted. One mistake could decide the outcome of the battle. Although Qing Er's cultivation level was high and her talent was astonishing, she did not have enough battle experience. Compared to the demonic chi cultivators who had been fighting for many years, she was still weak. With just one move, she was at a disadvantage. But she did not give up. She stared at the big hammer. The autumn sword in her hand leapt up. The swift wind spirit chi covered the sword's body. She attempted to use the sword's spirit chi to block the attack. But even if she blocked the attack, she would vomit 3 liters of blood. She would be heavily injured. Qing Er squinted her eyes and clenched her teeth. Suddenly, a blood-red sword suddenly flew over from the right, like a blood-red lightning. It directly landed in front of Qing Er, blocking the sledgehammer. Dang! The blood sword did not seem to be strong enough. It immediately shattered. But the moment it shattered, the thick demonic chi in the blood sword was like a broken water ball. It splashed in all directions and changed the direction of the big hammer. The big hammer brushed past Qing Er's body and smashed into the statue at the side. The statue was smashed into pieces. Qing Er's eyes widened. She looked at the broken pieces of the blood sword. She was stunned. The lingering spirit chi in the air had not dissipated. Qing Er's understanding of spirit chi was extraordinary. Although it was just floating in the air, she could feel it. 2 spirit chi. One leaned towards sharpness and speed. It seemed to be more powerful than the swift wind spirit chi. But she had never seen this spirit chi before. It was unfamiliar. And the other spirit chi was cold and ruthless. It was the demonic chi. 2 types of spirit chi? Why would this sword release 2 types of spirit chi? Also, looking at the material of the sword, it did not seem to be high quality. Qing Er stared at the broken sword. She was shocked. This seems to be an ordinary iron sword? So, just at this moment, a series of buzzing sounds came out. It was so concentrated that it sounded like firecrackers being lit. A tyrannical spirit chi rippled over. It was still the demonic chi, and the unknown spirit chi mixed together and collided with each other. Qing Er suddenly turned her head and looked over. She only saw a ferocious blood dragon rushing over. The blood dragon swallowed all the demons in its path. It was unstoppable. That is, Qing Er's eyes widened. She was dumbstruck. Inside the blood dragon, there were many sharp scarlet swords. They gathered together. Under the powerful spirit chi, they collided with the demon pig guard. The rainbow-like aura, the sharp sword intent, and the unparalleled power caused the surrounding demons to tremble. Puchi 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 puchi. The blood dragon formed by the blood swords pierced the demon pig guard. In less than 2 breaths of time, the demon pig guard was pierced by the hundreds of blood swords. Its huge body was like a hedgehog. Many of the blood swords pierced into its body, and many of the blood swords were smashed into pieces. The demon pig guard did not move. All of its postures were frozen. Then, those unbroken blood swords seemed to have received some kind of order. They quickly retreated and came out from the demon pig guard's body. In an instant, a large number of bloody holes appeared on the demon pig guard's body. Black blood spurted out from the holes, and its huge body collapsed with a loud bang. It was dead. This scene shocked everyone. The Sioux family who retreated looked at the blood swords in shock. Everyone's face was filled with disbelief. No! This demonic chi, such a dense demonic chi. Don't tell me the demonic chi came again? But why did he want to kill the demonic chi? Be careful of this person. The representatives from all sides shouted. Ching Er looked and saw a person dressed in Blademaster clothes. His face was covered with a mask. His long hair fluttered in the wind. He carried a pitch-black sword on his back. On his waist was a slender and dim sword sheath. In his hand was a thin and light slender sword. His body was surrounded by a large number of blood swords. Sword, 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 sword. This person's body was covered with swords. It was impossible to count how many swords he controlled and how many swords he was controlling. What was even more terrifying was that at this moment, this person's entire body was covered in blood, and his eyes were as terrifying as a god of slaughters. This person walked over. With every step he took, a blood-red footprint would appear. Someone's blood dripped from his Blademaster clothes and dripped onto the ground. The person in the blood-red cloak, who was fighting with Madam Headmaster, noticed the person. He was slightly startled. He immediately shouted, "Who are you?" Then, the person did not speak. Instead, he quickly approached Ching Er. Ching Er was shocked. She anxiously held on to her sword and was about to make a move. "Follow me." A hoarse voice filled with pain came out. Ching Er was stunned. Although it was hard to recognize who the voice belonged to, she felt an inexplicable sense of familiarity with this voice. Who was it? Why did it sound so familiar? Ching Er involuntarily put down the sword in her hand. She actually developed a kind of trust in this weird person. "Miss, be careful," the Sioux family shouted. But no one came close. The man with the blood-red sword did not seem to want to say more. He grabbed Ching Er's waist with one hand and tried to forcefully bring her away. "No. You can't just leave like this. If you are here to save me, please help me bring young Master Huiyu along. Young Master Huiyu is the Patriarch's son. If something happens to him here, I will not be able to escape. When that time comes, I am afraid that I will be implicated. Please help me." Feeling that the man with the blood-red sword had no evil intentions, Ching Er quickly said. Although the chi on the man with the blood-red sword was not considered strong, she did not know why, but she felt that this man's strength was unexpectedly higher than hers. The man with the blood-red sword heard and frowned. "Su Huiyu? Where?" "There." Ching Er pointed to Su Huiyu, who was lying on the ground moaning. At this time, 10 blood-red swords rushed forward. Without saying a word, they pierced towards Su Huiyu. Su Huiyu could not defend himself. He did not even have the time to groan. He was pierced by the blood-red swords. Like a hornet's nest, his body was filled with blood holes and he died. What? Ching Er was stunned. Chapter 86. Stunned. Completely stunned. Forget about Ching Er, even the Sioux family were dumbfounded. "You asshole!" Ching Er clenched her teeth and struggled free from the man's hand. She pulled out her sword. "You! What are you doing? Why did you kill young Master Huiyu? You don't want him to die. This scum, why wouldn't I want him to die? But if he dies, my young master and I will be implicated. Do you know that?" Qing Er bit her lips and said. The reason why she agreed to Su Li Xiong's request to enter the main house to be groomed was partly because of Su Yun. Master and Madam have both passed away. Young Master has no one to rely on in the Su family. He had offended many people previously. If I don't enter the main house, young Master will definitely be bullied or even taken revenge. So I have to stay in the main house. I have to protect young Master. Qing Er clenched her fists and thought. But if Su Huiyu died, she would not be able to escape the blame. Who knew that at this time? The blood sword masked man said. If Su Huiyu dies, you will be fine. You just need to pretend to be heavily injured. After all, this is an accident. It is hard to control it. You are the Su family's carefully groomed talent. Unless it is an extremely important mistake, the patriarch will not punish you. Take this pill. It is a fake injury pill refined by the Pill King of Blossom Heart Valley. After consuming it, you will enter a fake injury state. You can consume it before you return to the Su family. If you are seriously injured, the Su family will not punish you. So don't worry. Alright, time is running out. Quickly leave this place with me. After saying that, the man stretched out his hand, and in his blood-red palm was a dark green pill. Qing Er was stunned. You? Who are you? Why do you know so much about us? Me? The blood sword masked man bit his lower lip. He seemed to want to tell Qing Er, but he hesitated and did not say anything. You did not reveal your identity and killed young Master Su Huiyu. Why should I leave with you? Qing Er said softly. She quickly retreated. Seeing that, the blood sword masked man was startled. But thinking about it, Qing Er was right. He did not reveal his identity. Who knew what he was planning? Why did Qing Er trust him? Furthermore, he had just killed the son of the Su family's family head. Although the Su family's family head had quite a few sons, and Su Huiyu's position was not that high, he was still Su Li Xiong's son. Su Huiyu's death had already greatly affected him. If you don't leave, you'll die even if you stay here. Why won't you trust me? The man with the blood sword, Su Yun, said in a low voice. He really wanted to reveal his identity, but if he did, he was afraid that it would bring endless troubles to Qing Er. He had stolen the heavenly crystal, snatched the everlasting stone, and even offended Hu Qian Mei and the Ming-Ying school. The immortal sword sect and the Ming-Ying school would not let him go so easily. Qing Er only needed to know the trash of the Su family, Su Yun. As for the limitless Su Yun, she did not know him. But, before Qing Er could make a decision, her face suddenly changed and anxiously shouted, "Be careful!" Su Yun was startled. Without waiting for him to move, Qing Er pushed him away. Bang! A blood arrow shot out, piercing through Qing Er's shoulder. She fell to the ground, and blood flowed out from the corner of her mouth. Although it was not life-threatening, this move caused the girl to be in extreme pain. Su Yun was startled. He could guarantee that with his attire, Qing Er would definitely not recognize him, but why did she still want to save him? Looking at Qing Er, who was on the ground, Su Yun's hot blood suddenly calmed down. He walked over and helped Qing Er up. From his storage ring, he took out a pill and stuffed it into the girl's mouth to stop the bleeding. Then, he turned around and looked at the person who attacked him. It was none other than the man with the blood-red cloak. Madame Purple Star was being dragged away by Zhou Zibu and his trusted subordinates. The man with the blood-red cloak had completely retreated from the battle, but he did not capture Mu Feng, who was stubbornly resisting. Instead, he turned back to look for Su Yun. "You want to kill me?" Su Yun whispered. "You killed my people, why shouldn't I kill you?" The man with the blood-red cloak laughed. "Tell me who you are and why you're here. Maybe I'll let you go." "I just want to bring her away." "I'm afraid that's not possible. No one can leave here today." The man with the blood-red cloak raised his head. Under the haze of the cloak, a pair of eyes flashed with a terrifying light. "I see that you have a demonic nature, and your body is rippling with demonic chi. Tell me who you are, where you stand, and your power." If you kowtow to me, I won't kill you. If I kowtow to you, are you willing to let me bring her away? Hearing that, Ching Er was stunned. This person was willing to give up his dignity to protect her safety? Who exactly was he? The man with the blood-red cloak shook his head. She's not a demon. So, she's going to die. I have to fake this as an accident, or else there will be trouble, so everyone has to die. If you continue to resist me, maybe your life will be in danger. Hearing that, Su Yun was silent. Ah! Just then, Zhou Zibu was careless and took a blow from Madame Purple Star. His chest was pierced and he fell from the sky. He spat out a few mouthfuls of blood, and his eyes gradually dimmed. Master City Lord! The guards that followed the City Lord cried out in sorrow. Master! Blood Soul! Remember, please, you must resurrect my daughter. Zhou Zibu held on to his last breath and shouted weakly. His voice was hoarse and desolate, intermittent. With that, he laid on the ground, motionless. He was completely dead. Ha 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 ha! Only people can be so gullible. Although my cultivation is high, without my master's power, resurrecting a person is not an easy task. You idiot! How could you believe my words? Ha ha! Even in death, you still want to dream. Stupid! You're so stupid! Ha 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 ha! The man that Zhou Zibu called Blood Soul laughed out loud. His laughter was filled with mockery towards humans. You despicable bastard! Madame Purple Star screamed in pain. She killed Zhou Zibu, but she felt more guilty than anyone else. She and Zhou Zibu were old friends. She never thought that her old friend would end up like this. Furthermore, he died in her own hands. Ah! Immediately, Madame Purple Star supported her injured body and held onto her staff as she rushed forward. While she was in the air, her emaciated palm changed 13 positions in succession. Purple-colored patterns that were like stars revolved around her hand, and peerlessly profound energy rippled out like waves. But the Blood Soul did not panic. Staring at Madame Purple Star, his body suddenly exploded. He transformed into a ray of blood light and rushed towards Madame Purple Star. Madame Purple Star hurriedly released her technique. A series of purple stars transformed into a universe of stars and enveloped the ray of blood light. The dense and overbearing chi vibrated. The surrounding void shook and the ground shattered. The destructive chi was like a huge wave that rippled continuously. No one dared to go near the place where the two were fighting. At this moment, Mu Feng and the almighty experts of the Purple Star Academy were fighting against the demonic chi cultivators. There were corpses everywhere. Demonic chi cultivators and humans. Fresh blood seemed to drown the entire plaza. The corpses piled up like a mountain. Seeing this, Su Yun did not hesitate. He carried Ching Er and did not care if she was willing or not. He immediately brought her away. Although with the support of the blood diarrhea, he could control hundreds of steel swords to kill his enemies. But the steel swords that were supported by the blood diarrhea were still steel sword. Although their destructive power had increased by a few levels, they were not that strong. It was not difficult to kill ordinary demonic chi cultivators who had not reached the spirit core disciple realm. If he were to fight against the blood soul cultivators or the elite demonic chi cultivators, it would be a dead end. So, the only thing he could do now was to escape. Ching Er covered the wound on her shoulder. Her face was pale. Large beads of perspiration dripped down her face. She wanted to say something, but seeing the man who was covered in blood trying so hard to save her, she did not resist. You. Who are you? Ching Er asked in a low voice. This silhouette, this chi. So familiar. Why did he come to save me? Roar! Just then, Su Yun, who was rushing out of the plaza, suddenly heard a few deep roars. Looking over, he saw a large number of demonic chi cultivators rushing over. They were either holding a big axe or a long spear. Every demon's body was stained with blood. Every pair of eyes were thirsting for battle. Su family! Su Yun bellowed. The people of the Su family who were following behind started to gather. But no one dared to go near Su Yun. After all, this man was covered in blood. He was overflowing with a fiendish qi. Even though he had saved Qing Air, it did not mean anything. But then they heard the blood sword iron masked man shout, "You guys bring the young miss away. I'll hold them back." Okay. Everyone hurriedly replied. Su Yun led a female Su family inner sect disciple support Qing Air. Then, he controlled the 100 swords and rushed towards the group of demonic qi cultivators. With him as the center, the blood-red swords started to spin. Just like a rapidly spinning meat grinder, the nearby demonic qi cultivators were all sliced into pieces. But the price was not light. Every time a demonic qi cultivator was killed, at least 7 or 8 swords were destroyed. In such a circle, he did not kill many demonic qi cultivators, but he was afraid that the blood swords would be used up. Unfortunately, his cultivation level was not high. He was unable to control a higher level sword. If not, he would not have ended up like this. After this incident, he needed to train properly. Su Yun secretly clenched his teeth. Very quickly, the demonic qi cultivators were all killed. Su Yun only had 4 blood swords left. He took out 1,000 Deep Sword from the sword sheath and left with Qing Air and the rest. Passing through the path that was filled with blood, very quickly, they were nearing the periphery. "Stop! Who are you?" One of the demonic qi cultivator elders guarding the Purple Star Academy saw a few figures rushing over and immediately shouted. The fiendish qi on Su Yun's body was too dense. The elder was a demonic qi cultivator. This sentence was said using the demonic language. The goal was to test Su Yun. If Su Yun could not answer, the elder would definitely send people to kill him. "It's me. I'm under the orders of the Blood Soul Master to bring these people out. Quickly open the door and let us leave." Su Yun did not panic. He also used the demonic language to reply. Qing Air and the rest who were at the side looked at the person beside them in astonishment. Hearing him talking to the demonic qi cultivators, everyone was stunned. So this existence was a demonic qi cultivator. How could a human understand the demonic language? Seeing that this person could speak fluently in the demonic language, the elder heaved a sigh of relief. But he did not let his guard down. His eyes stared straight at the Su family. "These are all ordinary spirit cultivators, right? Where did the Blood Soul Master ask you to bring them? There are almighty beings from the elemental fire city rushing over from other places. If you go out, you'll be dead. Don't you know that?" "I know. But this is an order personally given by the Blood Soul Master." Su Yun continued to speak in the demonic language. But at this moment, his hand had already secretly reached into the sword sheath and grabbed the hilt of the 1,000 Deep Sword. Qing Air seemed to sense Su Yun's intention. Her face turned pale. She anxiously shouted, "Quickly stop. There are many of them. Their leader is at least a 10th stage Spirit Core disciple. You're definitely not his match. Quickly stop. Let's retreat back to the plaza." But it was too late. This was the last line of defense. How could Su Yun give up? Furthermore, he only needed to create a gap. As long as he could bring Qing Air away, no matter how strong the opponent was, he had to fight. "Let's go." A low voice rang out. Su Yun suddenly rushed forward. Like a shadow, he landed in front of the elder. Catching him off guard, he slashed with his sword. Boom! The 1,000 Deep Sword's ominous light shone. The first sword of the 3 broken swords exploded. Chapter 87. So, Su Yun suddenly made his move. The thick sword fiercely slashed over. The old man had no time to defend. The sword slashed heavily on the old man's skinny shoulder. The true divine spirit qi on the sword exploded. The old man was blown away, and fell into the group of demons behind him. The demons were instantly in chaos. All of them threw their gazes over, and without saying a word, they rushed over. There was a gap in the defense line due to the chaos. Go! Su Yun shouted. Ching Er's eyes widened, and looked at the blood sword man in astonishment. She wanted to say something, but when the words came to her mouth, she could not spit them out. Finally, she clenched her teeth and left with her people. The old man was sent flying by the sword, but it was not a big deal. Although he looked frail and weak, his strength was definitely not fake. Ching Er could not see through his cultivation level, but she could tell from the thick profound spirit chi that he was emitting that the old man's cultivation level was not simple. What was Su Yun's cultivation level? 4th stage spirit intermediate disciple. Even if he used the limitless sword arts to activate the 100 swords, even if he used the blood dye array to increase his chi, even if he had the limitless sword sheath to increase his strength, how much could he increase his strength? Maybe against a 5th or 6th stage spirit intermediate disciple, he could rely on these things to easily win. But against a 5th stage spirit core disciple, or even a 6th stage spirit core disciple, it was impossible to win. Even with Ching Er, the Su family's absolute genius, the seed, there was no way he could win. The disparity in cultivation level was not something that treasures and mystical techniques could make up for. The demons rushed over like a tide, and Su Yun hurriedly urged the 4 blood swords to meet them. He retreated a few steps and looked around, looking for a place to hide. Brat, you're really bold. You actually want to fight against so many demons alone. Are you looking to die? Hurry up and run. The sword elder seemed to have been provoked, and felt the thick demonic chi around him, and immediately roared. Don't be hasty. Su Yun's face congealed and stared at him. Su Yun killed the commander of the demons, and all the demons rushed towards him. There was still a gap, but Ching Er and the rest had already rushed over and forcibly attacked, and got close to the outer wall of the Purple Star Academy. The enchantment of the Purple Star Academy was almost broken, and when the time came, they only needed to break the wall and let the people outside in. The rest was up to Ching Er. Su Yun took a deep breath, and thrusted the 4 blood swords towards the devil cultivator at the front. Poochie! The 4 swords turned into blood-red light and pierced through the fiendkind's chest. But in the next second, a large axe came from the side and chopped the 4 blood swords into pieces. The 100 iron swords he had prepared were all destroyed. Su Yun's eyes widened as he looked at the demon that had shattered the blood sword. Another demon pig guard. Although I don't know who you are, if you dare to harm the commander, you will be sentenced to death. Men, cut him into 8 pieces. The demon pig guard raised his axe and roared. Hearing that, Su Yun's face turned green and anxiously retreated. The heavenly crystal was still recovering its energy and could not be activated. At this time, facing so many monsters was simply a dead end. Leave this guy to me. The rest of you go and defend the border. Don't leave any openings. Those people just escape. If we don't defend them, we'll all die when the people outside kill their way in. Just then, the old man stood up, patted the place on his shoulder where Su Yun had slashed, and shouted with a deep voice. Yes, Commander. The demonic chi cultivators did not dare to disobey the old man's orders. They respectfully shouted, and then took heavy steps, and continued to block the Purple Star Academy's wall. They urged their demonic chi to maintain the demonic array. When the demonic array was formed, the gap was immediately sealed. The people outside could not enter, and the people inside could not leave. But Ching Er and the rest had left. Su Yun heaved a sigh of relief. Without hesitation, he immediately turned and ran. But how could the old man let him go so easily? Whoosh! A ray of black demonic chi attacked and directly hit Su Yun's back. He staggered and rolled on the ground. After a while, he stopped and spat out a mouthful of blood. His strength was reduced by 30%. Such a weak existence dares to provoke me. You really don't know what's good for you. Wait till I eat your flesh, suck your blood, and extract your soul. I'll let you understand what true strength is, and who are the people you can never provoke. The old man kept his palm and walked towards Su Yun step by step. That pair of dim yellow eyes was suffused with a frightening red light. Sinister blood vessels swelled around his eyes. Those loose teeth suddenly changed and became sharp fangs. He extended his hand and pierced towards Su Yun's heart. He wanted to dig out his heart and lungs and start eating. This old man must have evolved from the lowest rank of the corpse-devouring demon. Su Yun's face congealed. He grabbed the 1,000-deep sword and slashed towards the old man again. But just as the sword flew over Bada, a withered hand lightly grabbed onto the flying 1,000-deep sword. The demonic chi between the fingers exploded, dispersing the demonic chi and pure divine spirit chi on the 1,000-deep sword. Su Yun's face changed. Such a strong existence. He's much stronger than you, Su Yun. You're too daring. How dare you provoke such an existence? The Sword Elder's anxious voice came out. In order to save my family, why wouldn't I dare? Su Yun thought. Sigh, forget it. I'll help you one more time. The Sword Elder sighed. He was about to explode and force the commander of the demon clan away. No need. Su Yun shouted anxiously. With a twist of his wrist, the 1,000-deep sword released an even denser, true divine spirit chi. The old man did not have time to defend. In an instant, he was struck by the dense true divine spirit chi and flew out. Su Yun hurriedly climbed up, clutched his chest and ran. The true divine spirit chi of the 1,000-deep sword is getting stronger with each strike. It can force that guy to retreat. But this is not a long-term plan. After the 3 strikes of the 1,000-deep sword, it will be no different from a normal sword. What else can you use to fight him? Hold on for a second. Qing Er and the rest have left the Purple Star Academy. The people outside should be attacking soon. When the demon army is defeated, I can survive. What I need to do now is to stall for time. Su Yun panted as he ran. Survive? The Sword Elder shook his head. Have you forgotten what you look like now? You're not human, you're not a demon. You're covered in demonic chi. How do you explain that? How can the people outside believe that you're a human? How can they not kill you? I think it's better for you to think of a way to leave this place. Hearing that, Su Yun took a deep breath and said softly, removing the blood diarrhea is not difficult. Senior, you don't have to worry about this. The most important thing now is, bang. Before Su Yun could finish his sentence, he suffered another blow from the back. His entire body flew forward and crashed into a few trees before landing. He cried out in pain and shouted, the most important thing is to get rid of this old bastard, all right. The Sword Elder nodded. Die. The commander of the demon clan leaped up and transformed into a ball of black clouds that enveloped Su Yun. Everything that was enveloped by the black clouds turned into dust. Regardless of whether it was rocks, weeds, fake mountains or even corpses, they all turned into dust. Seeing the black clouds approaching, Su Yun's heart skipped a beat. He flipped to the side and dodged. The few trees that he was previously standing on also turned into dust. He took off and ran. The black clouds chased after him crazily. Soon. Rascal, we'll be back at the Academy Square soon. When that time comes, you just have to unite with the almighty beings at the Academy Square to resist. You can still survive. After all, you saved Qing Er previously. They won't think that you're a demonic cultivator. Seeing that Su Yun was getting closer to the Academy Square, the Sword Elder's joyful voice came out. Su Yun endured the pain from all over his body. He did not make a sound. He swallowed the blood that came out of his throat and ran quickly. Seeing that he could not catch up, the old man transformed back into his original form and chased after Su Yun. When he neared Su Yun, he attacked with his palm. Killing intent burst forth. However, Su Yun seemed to have eyes on his back. When the withered palm was about to hit him, Su Yun turned around and slashed at the old man. The third sword of the 1,000-deep sword. Clang! The entire 1,000-deep sword's halo blossomed at this moment. It was like the moment when fireworks bloomed. All life was just for that moment of splendor. Thousands of kilograms of strength overflowed from the sword tip in the form of chi. It fiercely hammered the old man's palm. It seeped into his skin and into his body. The old man had long known that the sword in Su Yun's hand was strange, but he never thought that the sword would be stronger than the previous one. He had also kept an eye out for this palm strike, and when the sword approached, his attack immediately turned into a defense. The ruthless devil chi in his palm quickly arranged itself, forming a layer of defense. But the situation was still the same. Bang! The old man's body was sent flying, crashing into a pavilion at the side. Moreover, this strike was exceptionally powerful. The demonic blood in his body was even more turbulent, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. At the same time, the pavilion collapsed, directly burying him under it. Su Yun was overjoyed. "Let's go!" the sword elder shouted. Su Yun nodded. How would he dare to hesitate? He turned around and ran. As he neared the Academy Plaza, there were corpses of demons along the way. However, there were very few demons. Most of the demons must have gone to support the battle at the plaza. He did not know what the situation at the plaza was like. Hopefully, Purple Star would be slightly stronger. Su Yun thought. In his memories, the commotion at Purple Star Academy was huge. However, not many people knew the details. Everyone thought that some almighty being had purposely covered up the truth. It was extremely difficult to find out the truth. But one thing was for sure. Purple Star Academy did not decline because of this. Even though the current situation was that there were many casualties among the students and representatives. Voila! Su Yun passed through the huge door that had turned into a river of blood. He leaped into the plaza. Just as he entered the plaza, a strong gust of wind slapped against his face. Su Yun was startled. He looked up and was immediately stunned by the scene in front of him. Chapter 88. Half of the students who participated in today's exchange had died at the hands of the demonic creatures. The teachers were either injured or killed, and the representatives from all sides were injured. And the main character of this incident, the person that the demonic cultivators wanted to capture, Mu Feng, was already alone. Other than Mu Feng, the rest of the Mu family's envoys were all dead. No one survived. At this moment, everyone was huddled together as they were surrounded by layers and layers of demonic creatures. When the battle broke out, most of the people in the academy had either run away or been killed by the surrounding monsters. The people in the square could not get any support, and with Zhou Zibu acting as a spy, the academy was completely in a passive position. The situation was completely at a disadvantage. Madame Purple Star was supported by a few teachers as she sat at the front of the crowd. She wanted to use her chi to heal, but the moment she moved, she spat out 3 mouthfuls of blood. Her old face was pale and her eyes were dim, as though she would lose her life any time and die. The man called Blood Soul was not feeling well either. He stood among the demonic creatures and gasped for breath. His chest was moving up and down as though he would suffocate if he stopped for even a moment. Madame Purple Star is indeed a scholar. Her attainment in profound spirit chi is extremely high and her cultivation is ridiculously strong. She was obviously poisoned by Zhou Zibu, but she can still fight with me. Powerful. Truly powerful. Blood Soul said softly. Although his words were filled with admiration, his tone was proud. No matter how powerful you are, didn't you still fall into my hands? The body of a strong cultivator, filled with dense profound spirit chi, a strong soul, can greatly increase the strength of us demons. My goal this time is indeed Mu Feng, but if I can defeat you and absorb your bodies, my demonic beast will be able to break through and become even stronger existences. In the future, it will be much easier for me to kill all of Demon Blood Temple's insects. This is also why I have been hunting you all this time. Blood Soul laughed evilly. Now, if any of you are willing to bow down to me, I can promise you that when I absorb your body and soul, I will let you die a comfortable death. Despicable and shameless demon clansman, still trying to bewitch people? Madame Purple Star supported her body and stood up with difficulty. Her old face was filled with determination. If you want to kill, then come. If you don't, then scram. Why waste your breath here? We will never bow down to you. Yes, we will never bow our heads to you despicable and shameless monsters. If worst comes to worst, we'll just fight it out. A teacher from the Purple Star Academy stood up and shouted. His eyes were filled with anger. Those who knew him knew that at least half of his students had died under the claws of the demonic beast. Seeing how resolute Zi Xing and the others were, the other representatives also cried out, "Come at me if you want to kill me! Why are you talking so much nonsense? Don't tell me you're afraid of us? Let's go. At most, we'll just die. What's there to be afraid of? Bastard!" Roars rang out incessantly. Even though these people were like arrows at the end of their flight, no one was afraid. To be able to fight to the last moment, how many of them were afraid of death? The Blood Soul frowned. He did not expect these people to be so unafraid of death. Roar. Just then, the monster at the side let out a warning roar. The Blood Soul Master was suspicious. He turned his head and saw a man with a blood sword on his back and a blood-red sword sheath running towards him from the entrance of the plaza. The Blood Soul Master laughed. "Didn't you run away? Why are you back?" Su Yun was shocked, but he did not say anything. His eyes looked around, trying to find a way out. It was obvious that Madame Purple Star and the others could not hold on. This group of demonic beasts were well prepared. With Zhou Zibu's help, they attacked suddenly. Madame Purple Star and the others were caught unprepared. If they were to face them head-on, Madame Purple Star would definitely crush this group of demonic beasts. Looking around, there was no way out. The commander of the demonic beasts was catching up. If he did not think of a countermeasure, he would lose his life here. Su Yun was in a trance. Suddenly, he caught a glimpse of a small path at the side. That was the path that led to the blood diarrhea. Forget it. Madame Purple Star and the others might not be able to hold on. At this time, saving their lives was more important. Just as Su Yun was about to move, two demonic beasts ran out from the small path. Su Yun was stunned and quickly retreated. Su Yun was already at the end of his rope. How could the Blood Soul Master not see that? Moreover, this person's chi was not strong. His cultivation was weak and could not be relied on. The people outside should be attacking soon. However, we have plenty of time to enjoy our delicious meal. The Blood Soul Master raised both his hands high like a charlatan. With a hoarse and sharp voice, he shouted, "All right. Now, my servants, let us begin our meal." With that, the Blood Soul Master's body rippled with thick blood veins. His eyes became more and more demonic. He looked greedily at Madame Purple Star and licked his dry lip. His eyes were full of hunger. Not only him, the other demonic beasts around him were also drooling. They were restlessly staring at the group of people. Su Yun's heart turned cold. He had already noticed the two demonic beasts that ran out from the small path. They were staring at him with ferocious beast-like eyes. "Brat, is there no other way out now?" Seeing that Su Yun did not retreat, the Sword Elder sighed. "These two demonic beasts are not scary. What's scary is the commander that is chasing after us. The plaza is surrounded by demonic beasts. The blood fog array has not dissipated. I have no way out." Su Yun not only clenched his fists, but his heart was filled with resentment and unwillingness. He did not expect himself to be in this situation again. He could not die. His plan had not been implemented yet. He could not die here. Su Yun stared at the small path. His heart seemed to be covered with frost. It was cold and firm. If he rushed into the small path, there might be a glimmer of hope. "Brat, in this situation, you have a way to save yourself. However, you need its help. At this time, the sword elder suddenly said. Hearing this, Su Yun's heart calmed down. He quickly asked, "What method? Senior, please tell me quickly." "Behind you." The sword elder simply said these 3 words. Behind? Su Yun was suspicious. He turned his head. Suddenly, he thought of something and his face changed. "Senior, you mean the death sword? Although the Blood Soul Master is strong, when it fought with Madame Purple Star, it consumed a lot of energy. You can use the death sword to kill it. But the death sword cannot be pulled out. Senior, what is the point of saying this?" Su Yun gritted his teeth. "It cannot be pulled out. That is because it does not accept you. Since it's not convinced, you can convince it to temporarily help you and be of use to you." The sword elder whispered. "Convince? How could it be so simple? Everything depends on one's own effort. This is the only way to save yourself. The heavenly crystal cannot be used. What other plan do you have?" The sword elder sighed. "Although I have some power, I cannot compete with the Blood Soul Master. Only the death sword can help you. It all depends on your own ability." Hearing this, Su Yun was silent. But after a moment, his face revealed a sinister look. At this moment, was there any other way? No. Since it was like this, he could only try. Immediately, he stretched out his hand to grab the death sword. He held the hilt and was about to pull it out, but the sword did not move. No matter how much strength he used, he could not pull it out of the scabbard. Seeing this, Su Yun took a deep breath and said, "I know I am weak, but I need your help now. Quickly pull it out of the scabbard and help me." With that, Su Yun increased his strength. But the death sword still did not move. The sword did not leave the scabbard. F***ck your mother. Are you going to come out or not? Su Yun could not help but curse. Brat, don't curse like that. Be careful, it might get angry. Also, it has no mother to F***ck. Whoa! At this time, a howl sounded. He saw that the 2 demonic beasts had already rushed over. For huge claws fiercely smashed towards his head. Su Yun hurriedly rolled over and dodged. When he got up, he put the 1,000-deep sword back into the scabbard. Both of his hands grabbed the hilt and fiercely pulled. F***king F***king come out? Come out. Su Yun desperately pulled, but the death sword stubbornly refused to leave the scabbard. Whoosh! The demonic beast's claws came again. Su Yun's face turned pale and dodged again. Bang! The huge claws fiercely smashed into the ground. The ground cracked and the surging demonic chi splashed in all directions. Su Yun casually pulled out the 1,000-deep sword and slashed at one of the demonic beasts. But when the sword tip slashed, it only caused a shallow wound on its flesh. The 3 parts of the sword were out. The sword body had no more energy. At this moment, it was equivalent to the most ordinary iron sword. It did not have any power. Su Yun's eyes widened. He staggered up and turned to run. Brat! Just then, an angry roar came from the entrance of the plaza. Su Yun looked up and saw the old man who was sent flying by the 1,000-deep sword rushing over. His face was distorted. His eyes were filled with anger. He looked like he could not wait to bite Su Yun's bones, chew on Su Yun's flesh, peel off his skin and pull out his tendons. That was the commander of the demonic beasts. Su Yun's heart trembled. At this time, if he did not have the help of the death sword, he would definitely lose his life. Su Yun clenched his teeth. His heart sank. A painful scene flashed past his mind. That night of heavy rain. That lonely grave at the top of the mountain. That once helpless and hopeless eyes. That tired, yet hopeless, delicate, and pretty face. If he died, nothing would change. Everything would still proceed according to its original trajectory. The opportunity that the heavens gave him. Was he going to waste it like this? Death sword. Suddenly, Su Yun used a hoarse voice to call out. Your existence, is it just to kill? His voice was like the rubbing of pebbles. It was extremely piercing to the ears, but every sentence pierced into the heart. The existence of the sword is not just to kill. It is to protect. A sword stands between the heavens and earth. The true meaning of its existence is not to become a tool to create death. I, Su-yun, have missed too much and lost too much. When I came to my senses, everything was too late. I could become a demon for the things that I wanted to protect. I could do anything for the things that I care about. I could abandon my state of mind, abandon my soul, and use the dirtiest methods to deal with everything. Maybe I am a despicable and shameless person. Maybe what I did was not great. But I do not care. Because I know that everything that I have done, I have a clear conscience. The people that I care about are all living well. This is what I want. Then, what about you? Do you only recognize the strong? Do you only care about those who are strong? Do you think that only those with great strength can unleash your greatest power? Do you think that the weak are not worthy of you? If that's the case, then you are very wrong. I, Su-yun, am indeed very weak right now. I am only a 4th stage spirit intermediate disciple. But so what? Will I always be a 4th stage spirit intermediate disciple? Will I always be a weakling? No, maybe in the next second I can become strong. Now I only need your help, not your charity. This is not a request but a demand. Whether you unsheath it or not, whether you help or not, I will make a move. Although I have no way out, I am not afraid of a battle, even if the opponent is 100 times stronger than me. I am not afraid. Let's see if you are afraid, Su-yun said solemnly. But at this moment, he did not unsheath his sword. He stared in front of him. The commander of the demon clan and the 2 demons were already rushing towards him. He gathered all the pure divine spirit chi in his body and wrapped it in his palms. His heart had already made a decision without any hesitation. Even if he was barehanded, he had to fight. Because he was not willing. His soul was not willing. King Chong. Just at this moment, the pitch-black sword sheath on his back suddenly flashed a ray of black light. Following that, a slender pitch-black sword flew out by itself. It spun a few rounds in the air, and steadily stabbed into the ground in front of Su-yun. Chi! The sharp and mournful sound of the sword was like the roar of a ghost. It surged in all directions. Death's Sword. Chapter 89. Death. A sinister blood-red word appeared on the blade of the black sword. It was horrifying. The sword trembled. Like a stormy sea of death, the temperature of the entire square dropped. Even the blood soul that was preparing to attack Madam Headmaster could not help but look over. What kind of weapon is this? The old commander of the demon clan could not help but tremble. His yellow eyes were filled with shock as he looked at the sword. The 2 demonic creatures stopped and hesitated. Although they were not strong, they had some intelligence. They knew that the power of the unsheathed sword was extraordinary. But their hesitation did not make Su-yun hesitate. At this moment, man and sword were fearless. Kacha. The man rushed over and pulled out the black sword. He rushed towards the 2 demonic creatures. On the black sword, the bright red death word was glowing fiercely. The sword whistled like waves. Reckless thing. You think you can fight against us just because you have a good weapon? The difference in cultivation between us is too big. You will never be able to fill the gap. The commander roared. In the next second, Su-yun had already rushed over. For some reason, his speed doubled. Like a whirlwind, he got close to one of the demonic creatures. Then, the death sword rushed forward and pierced towards the demonic creature. The demonic creature did not have time to defend and was hit. Just that, a strange sound came out. Everyone looked over. The death sword actually did not pierce through the demonic creature's thick skin. Everyone was dumbfounded. Such an imposing sword, was it just a facade? The commander laughed. Ha 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 ha. So this sword is so useless. It really looks good but is useless. Ha ha. An ear-piercing laughter echoed. But this obviously stimulated the death sword. In that instant, the death sword released a large amount of death chi. This death chi that could cause flowers and grass to wither and green stones to become barren was like a pair of hands that covered the demon. In an instant, the demonic creature became thinner at a speed visible to the naked eye. The blood in his body quickly dried up. His eyes sunk in and his flesh shriveled. In a few breaths of time, he turned into a dried corpse. This strange scene was not inferior to the red sword on Hu Qianmei's waist that could absorb the energy of corpses. The commander's laughter stopped abruptly as he looked at this strange phenomenon in astonishment. Demon! Evil! It really was a demonic sword. It can actually absorb the enemy's energy and transform it for its own use. What an evil sword! The sword elder roared. How could the ancestor have hidden this sword? Impossible! The old ancestor would never do such a thing. Su Yun did not understand why the sword elder was so excited, but at this moment, he felt very comfortable. When the death sword released the death chi, it seemed to have extracted a large amount of pure divine spirit chi from his body, but when it absorbed the opponent's flesh and blood, his body was filled with a large amount of pure divine spirit chi, nourishing him. This feeling was incomparably infatuating. When the commander saw how strange the sword was, he was terrified. Su Yun did not stand on ceremony. He turned and rushed towards the other demon. How evil! It can actually transform the sword user's profound spirit chi into death chi, and then absorb the life of the person being attacked. Then, the life of the person being attacked will be transformed into the sword user's profound spirit chi. It will linger around, growing and multiplying endlessly, providing the sword user with an inexhaustible supply of profound spirit chi. But in the long run, Su Yun's body will not be able to withstand the evil power and will eventually collapse. Although he knew that the death sword was an evil sword, he never thought it would be so evil. Even if I can't bear it, I still have to bear it. This is my only chance, and it is also the only chance for it to trust me. Let me indulge myself for once and turn the world upside down. Su Yun bellowed and released another death chi. It absorbed the body of the demon and directly rushed towards the commander. The life of the demon was absorbed and transformed into profound spirit chi to fill Su Yun's body. Su Yun felt that his withered body was being nourished like never before. The fatigue, pain, and powerlessness from before were all swept away. As if it was ignited by Su Yun's fighting spirit, the death sword also trembled crazily. The sword trembled violently, and with a frightening intent, it pierced towards the commander. But the commander did not move. Instead, he looked at the incoming black sword with disdain. Looking at its aura, this sword should be a purple rank heaven rank divine weapon. Although it is strong, to me it is just a toy. And you think you can kill me with this sword? Too naive. I will let you know what absolute power is. Just as he said that, the commander extended his finger and accurately caught the pitch-black sword edge of the death sword. The death chi rippled. But the commander was not an ordinary person. A large amount of demonic spirit chi surged over like a flood, surrounding the death chi and preventing it from affecting the commander's body. Although the death sword was strong, the commander was not weak either. If Su Yun's cultivation was strong, the death sword's vicious nature would definitely be released. The death sword was suppressed. Su Yun ferociously activated his chi and fiercely thrust the sword forward. Just that the commander's two skinny fingers were like a steel drill, firmly holding onto the sword edge. It was difficult to advance even an inch. Suddenly, the commander stomped his foot. 5 bone spikes shot out from his foot. They were actually the commander's foot bone fingers. They were enveloped by the demonic spirit chi and fiercely pierced towards Su Yun's abdomen. So venomous! Su Yun suddenly let go of the death sword. He anxiously retreated and dodged the attack. The commander kicked empty air. Looking at the black sword that was caught between his fingers, he laughed out loud. Ignorant ant. You are so scared by my attack that you don't even want your sword? Ha 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 ha. Truly trash. Trash? Su Yun snorted. His eyes were like torches as he stared at the death sword. King Chong. Just then, the death sword suddenly flashed with a black light. Following that, a dense black chi leaked out from the sword hilt like a dragon. Wung 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 wung. A large number of sword hums resonated out. It was as though a heavenly ship had been activated. It was as though a grand and majestic weapon had been activated. The oppressive, violent, devastating and uncontrollable feelings spread out ferociously. The commander was startled. He looked around. Finally, his green eyes landed on the sword sheath on Su Yun's back. The restless sword hums seemed to come out from the sword sheath. Also, the sword hums became louder and louder. The aura became more and more astonishing. The Blood Soul Master seemed to have sensed something. His face changed. Ma Yu, quickly dodge. What? The commander was startled. So, in the time it took for a spark to fly off a flint, the sword sheath suddenly opened. Hundreds of colorful swords flew out. Like a torrent, they crashed into the commander. The colorful ancient sword, the stone heart sword that was as heavy as a mountain, the endless sword aura, the majestic heavenly spirit's sword, the quiet and pure spirit leaf sword, the formless and shapeless ascendant sword, the swords flew out. The sword aura engulfed everything. Like a hurricane, it swept forward. One sword like a dragon. Hundreds of swords. At this moment, no one could compete with it. No one could match it. At this moment, there was only one thing in the commander's green eyes. Swords. Poochie, 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 they were like mystical dragons. In a blink of an eye, they pierced through the commander's body. Then, they circled in the air. One sword pierced through him. Then, they turned around and continued to attack. The 100 swords pierced through the commander. The commander's body was smashed into pieces by these swords. He was killed in an instant. The ground was covered in blood and minced meat. Even the bones were smashed into pieces. All of this happened in the time it takes for a spark to fly off a flint. Madame Purple Star was stunned. Mu Feng was stunned. Even the unruly Blood Soul Master was shocked. No one had ever seen such a weird sword technique. Compared to the Immortal Sword Sect, the Imperial Sword technique was much more brilliant. The extremely ferocious and powerful 100 flying swords were like 100 lightning bolts. They pierced through the sky. Su Yun panted heavily. His right hand held onto the death sword. The sword tip was on the ground. His entire body was exhausted. Perspiration dripped down profusely. The 100 swords cried out above his head. Every sword was stained with fresh blood. They were violent and ruthless. None of them were willing to calm down. And on the blade of each sword, one could vaguely see a pitch-black character for death. This was the mark left behind by the death sword after it conquered them. Such a ferocious sword! The Blood Soul Master was shocked. He stared at Su Yun. Under the cloak, his hazy eyes were filled with greed. You are so weak. How can you have such a ferocious sword? What a waste! Why don't you let me use it? With that, the Blood Soul Master turned and rushed towards Su Yun. Madam Headmaster and the rest had already lost their fighting strength. They could kill him or cut him up. But it was different for Su Yun. Furthermore, this strange sword allowed Su Yun to kill someone stronger than him. It was enough to show that this sword was not ordinary. Towards treasures, no one would not be greedy. Especially the demons. Humph! Su Yun groaned. He supported his tired body and leaped towards the Blood Soul Master. Seeking death. Seeing that Su Yun did not dodge or retreat, but instead rushed towards him, the Blood Soul Master was enraged. He raised both his palms and a ball of blood mist flew towards Su Yun. The 100 swords flew again. They lined up in front of Su Yun and formed a gigantic sword shield to block the attack. Clang! When the blood mist hit the sword shield, it immediately dissipated. Su Yun only felt that his body was being hit by a powerful force. The blood in his body started to move restlessly. It was as though it wanted to break through his blood vessels and welcome the blood mist. His throat felt sweet. The blood was about to spurt out. Su-Yun quickly suppressed the blood. His eyes were bloodshot as he stared at the Blood Soul Master. The death sword moved horizontally and vertically. The 100 swords immediately separated. They flew up high and then dropped down. The 100 swords fell together. The swift and fierce sword intent was boundless and rippling. Blood Demon Shield. The Blood Soul Master growled. He raised both his hands into the air. Clang! His hands spurted out a large amount of blood. It quickly formed a thick and dense blood shield above his head. The shield was 3 feet thick. It was like a blood ice. Dang 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 dang. The 100 swords collided. A large amount of profound spirit chi rippled. The blood wall trembled, but it was hard to break through. Su-Yun's eyes congealed. He immediately held onto the death sword. Once again, he controlled the 100 swords. They made a circle in the air. They separated into 2 groups and pierced towards the Blood Soul Master. The Blood Soul Master laughed disdainfully. You think I'm exhausted after fighting with Madame Purple Star? Hey, your guess is right. But you're too weak. Your swords are good. But you're not. I'm not afraid. He waved both his hands. The gigantic blood shield suddenly split into 2 pieces and blocked the left and right side of him. Dang 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 dang. The 100 swords were blocked again. Su-Yun's heart was solemn. His face was tense. This Blood Soul Master was not easy to deal with. The next one is mine. The Blood Soul Master suddenly roared. He opened his mouth and spat out a pillar of blood. Hua! The pillar of blood flew out of his mouth. It dispersed and turned into countless blood-red souls. The souls screamed in pain and surrounded Su-Yun. Chapter 90. Su-Yun was taken aback. A look of surprise surfaced on his face. But very quickly, the surprise disappeared and was replaced with a steady look. Everyone was surprised. Why is he not afraid? He raised his black sword and stared at one of the millions of blood-red souls. Suddenly, he struck and pierced through. He did not hold back his pure divine spirit chi as he shot forward like a shooting star. The blood-red souls that were close to Su-Yun all started to bite him, tearing off the flesh on his shoulders or legs, biting out wounds one after another. However, this person did not change at all, and forcefully endured the biting of the souls, and continued to attack. The tip of the sword closed in. Chi! The blood-colored soul that was locked on was pierced through by this sword. A sharp aura surged within and shattered it into pieces. The moment the blood-colored soul shattered, all the blood-colored souls in the surroundings exploded into a bloody mist and disappeared without a trace. What? The Blood Soul Master was shocked. You actually broke my great technique so easily? How is that possible? 1000 Blood Demon Technique. You're from the Blood Demon Heaven Dao. Su-Yun held onto the death sword and stared at the Blood Soul Master with bloodshot eyes. Who are you? How do you know about the 1000 Blood Demon Technique? The Blood Soul Master's voice was trembling. You're obviously a demon. Why are you helping these people? You're a demon. You know us demons like the back of your hand. Why are you helping these people? Why? You demon! I'm not a demon, Su-Yun muttered softly. But in truth, his soul had long been tainted by the demon and could not be purified. The Myriad Blood Demon Great Technique was a high-level technique of the Blood Demon Heaven Dao. Su-Yun, who had joined the Devil Sect, had once carried out a mission to watch over a Blood Demon Heaven Dao ranker. Su-Yun had used the souls of 3 low-level demons to exchange for this technique. After the ranker happily absorbed the 3 souls, he was comfortably executed by the Devil Sect. Although he obtained the 1000 Blood Demon Technique, Su-Yun's demonic chi was insufficient and he could not cultivate it. He only knew the theory but not the essence. It was a pity. Hence, when the Blood Soul Master used this technique, Su-Yun knew the pros and cons and could easily break it. Damn it! I don't care if you're a human or a demon. Since you're going against the blood demon Heaven Dao, then go and die. The blood soul master was truly enraged this time. The blood chi around his body rippled as he rushed towards Su Yun. However, Su Yun did not panic. A flying sword landed at his feet and carried him backwards quickly, dodging the attack. At the same time, 100 flying swords flew towards the blood soul master from his left and right. Every time 100 swords flew out, it would carry a grand feeling of sweeping through the heavens and dragging the earth, causing one's heart to become solemn and unforgettable. Su Yun controlled the flying swords and flew through the sky above the plaza. The 100 flying swords automatically spread out, and with the blood soul master as the center, they attacked crazily. Rays of light streaked across the sky. Blood Soul split the blood shield into 81 pieces and scattered them around his body to block the incoming blood swords. Dang, 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 dang. The sound of flying swords hitting the blood shield was endless. The flying swords were extremely fast, but the blood shield was even faster. Even though there were hundreds of flying swords, they were unable to harm the blood soul. Ha 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 ha, is that all you've got? Seeing that Su Yun was at his wit's end, the blood soul master laughed. Suddenly, the cloak on his back lifted up and a blood light rushed out and shot into the sky. Following that, a blood eye appeared in the sky. It stared at Su Yun in a daze. After a while, the blood eye shot out a heavy and destructive blood light towards Su Yun. Su Yun quickly dodged. The blood light landed on the ground, causing the ground to explode and a black hole to appear. Everyone was shocked. Chio! 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 The blood eye attacked crazily and its speed was getting faster and faster. The entire plaza was destroyed and many demonic chi cultivators and students were affected. If this goes on, you will definitely not be able to hold on. Boy, let me lend you a helping hand. The Sword Elder shouted. No need, Senior, you have a spirit body. If you continue to exhaust your spirit power, your spirit body will only get thinner and thinner. I can take care of this person. Don't move. Su Yun said anxiously. His eyes were cold. His gaze landed on a few demonic chi cultivators. Immediately, he controlled the flying sword and rushed over. So, the demonic death sword followed the movement of the man's arm and pierced a demonic chi cultivator's body. Releasing the death chi, the demonic chi cultivator's life force was immediately sucked dry and transformed into profound spirit chi to nourish Su Yun's withered body. The demonic chi cultivator died. Su Yun moved again. Another one. Third one. Fourth one. The demonic chi cultivators died one after another. A large amount of profound spirit chi replenished Su Yun's body. Huh! Seeing this, the blood soul master frowned. Both of his hands quickly formed seals. He controlled the blood eye in the sky and attacked Su Yun even more strongly. Su Yun seemed to have absorbed enough profound spirit chi. Once again, he flew over. Controlling the death sword, he commanded the 100 swords to attack the blood soul master. Heh, you still haven't given up? The blood soul master said in a low voice. Everyone retreat. Don't let this person absorb any more profound spirit chi. I want to see how much strength he has to fight me. Yes, master. The demonic chi cultivators all retreated and hid in the blood mist. They were no longer killed by Su Yun. They absorbed their life force and transformed it into profound spirit chi. But at this moment, Su Yun did not need to transform his chi. The 100 swords flew out and fiercely attacked the blood soul master. But when he moved, the blood shield also moved quickly. As the vice commander of the blood demon Heaven Dao, the blood soul master's techniques were not strange. His own treasures were tyrannical. Even after fighting with Madame Purple Star, he was not at a disadvantage against Su Yun, who was wielding the death sword. Without any surprise, the 100 swords were blocked. The clanging sounds did not stop. Su Yun took a deep breath. Suddenly, he stepped on the flying sword and rushed forward. Ha 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 ha! All right, since you are so anxious to die, I will not play with you any more. Die. The Blood Soul Master said fiercely. Both of his palms stirred up the blood mist again. The mist quickly changed and formed a huge shark's mouth in front of him. But at this moment, something strange happened. Su Yun suddenly jumped down from the flying sword. At the same time, he threw the death sword towards the Blood Soul Master. The Blood Soul Master was startled. He looked at Su Yun's palms changing rapidly. One after another, mysterious and complicated hand gestures were changing. Almost at that moment, Su Yun absorbed all the profound spirit qi in his body like a fountain. It seeped through his skin and was completely released. Open your spirit essence. Open your qi channels? Brat, what are you doing? The Sword Elder shouted. All or nothing. Su Yun clenched his teeth and said in a low voice, if this continues, I will definitely lose. Now I can only stake it all. All or nothing. The Sword Elder was startled. He immediately shouted, but if you open your spirit essence and open your qi channels, you will injure the enemy 1,000 times and injure yourself 800 times. You will be seriously injured. Previously, you used the blood dye array to increase your strength. This caused your demonic qi to be very dense. Humans treat you as a demon. Demons also treat you as a demon. If you open your spirit essence and your qi channels, you will release all the profound spirit qi in your body. Within a day, you will not be able to produce any profound spirit qi. Like this, you will not be able to leave this elemental fire city. These people will not let you go. If I don't do this, sooner or later I will die under the hands of the Blood Soul Master. Isn't the result the same? Su Yun's face became paler and paler. His voice became weaker and weaker. His blood-red Blademaster cloak suddenly trembled. His blood-dyed hair fluttered even though there was no wind. That was the profound spirit qi gushing out from his body. They quickly turned into pure divine spirit qi and rushed towards the 100 flying swords that were piercing the Blood Soul Master. One by one, they formed a link. Huh! The Blood Soul Master was startled. He felt something was wrong. Just at that moment, voila! All the swords that were piercing towards the Blood Soul Master suddenly burst out with a sword shadow. Then, all of them split into two. One was a fake sword and the other was a real sword. Heaven's splitting sword technique. A total of 200 divine swords. Moreover, they were used on 100 divine swords at the same time. How much profound spirit qi would be consumed? In a split second, Su Yun's internal profound spirit qi was depleted. He fell heavily onto the ground and spat out a mouthful of blood. He was like a lamp that had run out of oil. But at the same time, the 200 divine swords collided with the blood shield. The fake swords brushed past the blood shield and headed towards the Blood Soul Master. What? The Blood Soul Master's eyes widened and he anxiously wanted to defend, but it was too late. This change was too sudden and the 100 swords had split up to attack him from all sides. This sudden change simply caught him off guard. Poochie poochie poochie, the qi swords pierced his body. The Blood Soul Master trembled. His skin and flesh were pierced. But, his cloak displayed its might. The qi swords could only pierce through lightly. They were unable to penetrate deep into his body and injure his internal organs. Just based on this, don't even think of killing me. The Blood Soul Master clenched his teeth. He raised his head and stared at Su Yun, who was lying motionless on the ground. His face twisted. But just as he finished speaking, a pitch-black sword suddenly pierced into his chest with a poochie sound. Similarly, under the protection of the cloak, the sword did not pierce in too much. But a dense death qi erupted from the sword. It was like a gigantic black ghost's mouth that swallowed the Blood Soul Master. The Blood Soul Master's face instantly turned deathly pale. His entire person was stunned. Qi. The death qi invaded the Blood Soul Master's body. His flesh started to wither. His bones started to shake. It was as though time was passing quickly. His life force was disappearing. the Blood Soul Master hurriedly activated the demonic chi in his body to resist the death chi. Just as he activated the demonic chi that was maintaining the blood shield was diverted. The blood shield dissipated and the 100 swords pierced through. Poochie 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 poochie. The Blood Soul Master was instantly turned into a hornet's nest by the 100 swords. He trembled in the midst of the swords. Both his eyes were pierced by the sharp swords. Every inch of his body was pierced by a sword. He looked like a porcupine. He looked fearful and ferocious. The death sword took the opportunity to absorb crazily. A large amount of life force was absorbed. The Blood Soul Master was also sucked dry. The chi in his body quickly dissipated. In the blink of an eye, he died. Pudong! The Blood Soul Master's broken body fell to the ground. It made a dull thud. The entire square was silent. Madam Headmaster, Mu Feng, Wu Kong and the rest were dumbfounded. They could not say a word. Chapter 91. So, Ancient Rainbow Sword, Stone Heart Sword, Endless Sword, Heaven Imbibing Sword, Spirit Leaf Sword, Limitless Sword. The 100 swords lost their strength and flew back to the limitless sword sheath. Swoosh, 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 the 100 swords returned to the sheath. Everything was silent. What? The heavily injured Madame Purple Star held on to her will and stared at the scene with her old eyes. She had studied spirit cultivation for so many years and had studied treasures thoroughly, but she had never seen such a strange scene. Was that a mystical technique? Or a treasure? Who was that person? What was inside the sword sheath? Why was he able to kill a spirit soul almighty being with just a 4th stage spirit intermediate disciple? Even if this almighty being was like an arrow at the end of its flight, why did he still have such a technique? The endless thirst for knowledge ignited the madness in Madame Purple Star's heart, but she could not figure it out. Madame Purple Star, what technique is this? The teacher at the side swallowed his saliva and asked in shock. I don't know either. Madame Purple Star shook her head and said bitterly, I don't even know who this person is, it seems like my knowledge is still too shallow. He is called Limitless. Just then, a weak voice came from behind. Everyone turned to look, only to see that the person who spoke was Mu Feng, who was covered in blood and was severely injured. Mu Feng stood up with difficulty, clutching his abdomen that was still overflowing with blood, and stared at the disfigured man who was crawling up from the ground. He is called Limitless. He saved me before. But he has a dense demonic chi on him. He is a demon. He must be someone from the demonic continent. Wukong shouted from the side. No! Mu Feng tilted his head and shouted, his expression solemn. His gaze was like a torch as he stared at Wukong. Whether he is a demon or not, he saved me, he killed Blood Soul, and took revenge for the dead guards of my Mu family. He saved all of us. Even if he is a demon, he is my savior. Wukong bit his lower lip, speechless. Madame Purple Star and the rest did not speak. It was not that they were not grateful to this person, but to be related to a demon was something that could not be washed away in their lifetime. That person in Blade Master clothes, carrying a sword sheath, and wearing an iron-colored mask, stood up with difficulty. His steps were unsteady and his body swayed like a drunkard. The face that was exposed outside the broken mask was abnormally pale. He tried his best to walk towards the direction where the Blood Soul died, towards the pitch-black sword. Every step he took was incomparably heavy. Every step seemed to consume his life force. Finally, he moved in front of the Blood Soul's corpse. This process seemed to have lasted for a century. He reached out and grabbed the dead sword. His trembling fingers gently moved over, and in the end, he grasped the sword hilt. In the blink of an eye, a thick and clear stream flowed out from the black sword hilt, spreading to every part of his body. The death sword, which had absorbed the Blood Soul's rich life force, had once again given him power. After the sword elder realized it, he suddenly understood. No wonder this rascal dared to open his spirit essences and chi channels, and unleashed his profound spirit chi to the maximum. The death sword used the death chi to absorb life force, and converted it into profound spirit chi to replenish his body. That was why he dared to be so daring. This rascal's eyes are more unique than mine. He is not an ordinary person, he is brave and smart. The sword elder felt inferior. Holding the death sword, he received the dense profound spirit chi. Su Yun's body was nourished, and his complexion looked better. He did not say anything. Taking a deep breath, he placed the death sword back into its sheath. Looking at Madame Purple Star, Mu Feng and the rest, he immediately turned to leave. Bang! 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 Just then, a series of explosions sounded. Inside the blood mist, flesh and blood flew everywhere. A large number of demonic chi cultivators were blown to the ground. Intense fighting sounds and shouts sounded out again. Everyone, go to the plaza and support Madame Purple Star. Quick! Kill all these despicable and cruel demonic chi cultivators. Kill! The shouts did not stop, and the turbulent profound spirit chi continued to rush over. Su Yun's face changed slightly, but he did not move, and quietly looked forward. But seeing the blood mist gradually dissipate, one by one, figures rushed over. There were figures in all directions, and every one of them had anger and resentment written all over their faces. This was their hatred towards the demonic chi cultivators. Rascal, be careful, the sword elder whispered. Su Yun nodded and once again touched his back. There seemed to be no way to go. But when it was necessary, Su Yun did not mind fighting with his last breath, and killing his way out. He did not care about good or evil, as long as someone threatened him, they would all be evil. Such a dense demonic chi. There's a demonic chi cultivator here. Just then, a young man who was full of vigor discovered Su Yun's existence, and immediately shouted out loud. Kill! Kill all the demonic chi cultivators, leave none alive. Make these bastards scram back to the demonic continent. The men and women's voices did not stop. Su Yun secretly clenched his sword, and was about to make his move. However, a weak but unyielding voice sounded from the other side. Stop! Don't hurt Limitless Sword God! Although the voice was weak, it was obvious that the person who shouted was using all his strength. Everyone turned to look, and were shocked to find out that the person who spoke was Madame Purple Star Principal. The leader of the Elemental Fire City's city defense team stood up, and bowed to the principal, and immediately said, Principal, this person's entire body is filled with demonic chi. He must be a demonic chi cultivator. Why can't we hurt him? He killed the Blood Soul Master and saved our lives. He is not an ordinary demonic chi cultivator. Madame Purple Star clutched her aching chest, and slowly said with her old voice, What? Everyone did not understand, and their faces were filled with shock. This person saved Madame Purple Star Principal and the rest? He killed the demonic chi cultivator. Who is the Blood Soul Master? The sound of blood falling could not be stopped. But it was obvious that Su Yun did not want to stay here for long. He took a few steps back, and suddenly took out Thousand Deep Sword from the sword sheath, threw it into the air, and then leaped up, stepping on the sword and flying. He's escaping. We can't let him leave like this. Someone shouted again. Don't even think about it. Whoever dares to hurt him is going against my Mu family. Seeing that someone did not listen to his advice, Mu Feng panicked and immediately bellowed. Limitless had saved him time and time again. How could he let others hurt him? Regardless of whether he was a human or a demon, it did not matter. In Mu Feng's heart, he was the benefactor who gave him 2 lives, and his feelings were higher than the mountains. Who was Mu Feng? What was the position of the Mu family? As long as the spirit cultivators of Mystical Mountain Range had a certain level of cultivation, they would have heard of it. Mu Feng's shout immediately woke many people up, and also shocked many people who wanted to kill the demon and claim the reward. No one dared to act recklessly, and could only watch as Su Yun left. Seeing that, the captain of the city defense was confused. Many people were baffled. Why did they have no choice but to watch this devil leave? Very quickly, this person disappeared. May I ask Madam Purple Star Principal, do you seem to know this person? Just then, a young lady wearing a milky white Blademaster outfit walked out from the crowd. The young lady's face was slightly pale, with one hand holding a sword, and on her shoulder blade, there was a lot of demon blood on her Blademaster outfit. And behind her, there were many injured Su family members. Su Qing'er. Madam Purple Star still had an impression of this wise and calm young lady. Today is also the first time we meet. Madam Purple Star swallowed a healing medicine from the person beside her, and said, "Just now you called him Limitless Sword God?" "Yes." Without waiting for Madam Purple Star to speak, Mu Feng, who was at the side, spoke. "On the way to Purple Star Academy, I met with bandits, and it was this person who helped me. If not for this person, Mu Feng would have died long ago. This person is called Limitless Sword God, although he has a demonic chi, but he has a chivalrous heart. Limitless Sword God." Qing'er murmured these two words, but her mind was blank. Why did this person save me? Could it be, he really has a chivalrous heart? The commotion of Purple Star Academy quickly spread throughout the entire mystical mountain range, and even spread to the surrounding areas. Limitless Sword God's name immediately spread. Because of his broken face, his body was overflowing with demonic chi, and his identity was a mystery. No one knew where he came from, where his master was, and no one knew what his surname was, or where he was now. People only remembered the pair of blood-red eyes, the broken face, and the strange black sword, the shocking scabbard. Was he positive? Or evil? Was he human? Or was he a demon? No one could say for sure. But as the word of mouth spread, a new title was crowned. Limitless Sword God. This name spread to many areas. This time, the Purple Star Academy's riot had attracted the attention of many powers, sects, and clans. Everyone started to investigate all the places where the demonic chi cultivators could appear, and started to investigate how the Blood Soul Master and the others entered the Sky Martial Continent. Although there were demonic beings in the Sky Martial Continent to harass, but it was rare for the Blood Soul Master to bring an entire demonic army to attack. After the incident, all the forces sent people to investigate. Because of Su Huiyu's death, Qing'er did not dare to delay, and swallowed the pill given by Limitless Sword God. When the pill entered her stomach, she seemed to have been poisoned, and could not get out of bed. Her illness was beyond cure, and she was urgently sent back to the Su family for treatment. Seeing this, the patriarch of the Su family, Su Lixiong, did not blame Qing'er anymore. After all, not everyone could stop this, and the other forces also suffered heavy losses, so it was not Qing'er's fault. At this moment, inside the Immortal Sword sect, inside the Heaven Palace that was filled with immortal chi, a graceful lady with skin as white as snow and eyebrows as deep as mountains stood in front of a round mirror. The round mirror flashed a few images, but very quickly, these images dissipated. The lady's expression was calm, but a strange light flashed past her eyes. Hua! A figure flew in from the entrance of the palace. The lady tilted her head and walked over to greet the person. Xianli greets the great clan elder. The voice was gentle and elegant, like a spring breeze. No need to be so polite, Xianli. The person was a middle-aged lady, looked at Long Xianli, and nodded. Now that news of Limitless Sword God has spread, and with the heavenly crystal, he killed the Blood Soul Master. He has become the hero of the people. I'm afraid that many people are on his side now. But evil people are evil people. This person is despicable, cunning, and ruthless. He killed Tai Wen Xian, and stole the heavenly crystal and the everlasting stone. This is a heinous crime, we must capture him back to the Immortal Sword sect. Long Xianli said. I will move now and go to the Elemental Fire City to investigate the whereabouts of Limitless Sword God. I must capture him. Chapter 92. Move. The middle-aged lady shook her head. Clan Elder Xianli, how do you plan to investigate Limitless? The appearance of Limitless Sword God in the Purple Star Academy naturally started from the Purple Star Academy. Long Xianli thought for a while and said lightly. It is said that Limitless Sword God killed the Blood Soul Master and saved the Purple Star Academy as well as many other sects in the Mystical Mountain Range. They are indebted to him. If you want to get any clues from Purple Star Academy, it is obviously not possible. Moreover, our Immortal Sword sect will also be suspected. The middle-aged woman said. Being suspected? Long Xianli's willow leaf-like elegant eyebrows slightly twitched. Great Clan Elder thinks that our Immortal Sword sect did not participate in the exchange meet, but suddenly appeared in Elemental Fire City, and even investigated Limitless Sword God's whereabouts, will cause people to misunderstand. Right, the matter of the Heavenly Crystal has been exposed. This is not good for us to recover the Heavenly Crystal. Then, Great Elder, what do you mean? Long Xianli raised her starry eyes and asked softly. There's no need to go to Elemental Fire City. Everyone is thinking of going there to investigate Limitless Sword God's whereabouts. It's useless for you to go. I think we should start from other places. The Great Clan Elder lowered his head and thought for a while, then suddenly asked, Xianli, the last time you told me, you suspected someone from the Su family, is that right? Yes. Long Xianli nodded. Then you can go to the Su family again to take a look, the Great Elder said in a low voice. Why? Long Xianli did not understand. Someone once saw Limitless Sword God save the representative of the Su family, Su Qing, in Purple Star Academy, and protect her as she left Purple Star Academy. Hearing this, Long Xianli's heart sank. After muttering to herself for a while, she said, But I suspect that the person who is most likely Limitless Sword Lord has already died in one of the Su family's trials. He died in the Su family's trial? The Great Elder frowned. Did you see it with your own eyes? Although I didn't see it with my own eyes, someone from the Su family saw it. Is that so? The Great Elder shook his head. You believe me just like that? What does Great Elder mean? Either the Su family lied to you, and Limitless is one of them, or Limitless isn't the person you suspect. There must be something fishy going on. I think there will be some clues about Limitless saving Su family's young lady. You can't go to Elemental Fire City. If you want to go, you should go to the Su family. To the Su family? That won't do. Long Xianli shook her head. Previously, when I went to the Su family, I had already aroused their suspicions. If I go again, I will definitely be investigated by the Su family. I just need to borrow an excuse to go there. Borrow a name? Long Xianli frowned. What name? Investigate Limitless Sword Lord. The Great Clan Elder whispered, The Heavenly Crystal is a treasure that everyone yearns for even in their dreams, but it still belongs to the Immortal Sword sect. If others knew that Limitless Sword God has the Heavenly Crystal, they would definitely think of ways to get it. Because of the Heavenly Crystal, we couldn't openly investigate Limitless. But now it's different. Limitless has something that we can openly investigate. We can use this as an excuse to go to the Su family. What is it? Long Xianli asked in a low voice. Sword. The Great Elder said, It's his Imperial Sword technique. It was said that when the Limitless Sword Lord killed the Blood Soul, he controlled 100 swords to kill it. 100 swords. What kind of brilliant Imperial Sword technique is this? My Immortal Sword sect's Imperial Sword technique is only used to carry people, but not to kill. To use the Imperial Sword technique to kill the enemy, I'm afraid only the sect leader can do it, and even the sect leader can't control so many flying swords. So, we can use this as an excuse to go to the Su family, and find the Su family's young miss to interrogate. After all, she has interacted with Limitless Sword Lord before, so we can say that the Imperial Sword technique of Limitless Sword Lord is related to our Immortal Sword sect, and we need to confirm if he is a member of our Immortal Sword sect. Long Xianli heard this and was silent for a moment. She extended her jade-like fingers, and gently stroked the round mirror and softly said, "Since it's like this, the great clan elder doesn't need to send me to the Su family. You can send someone else, and I will secretly enter the Su family to investigate. That's more appropriate." The great clan elder nodded. Elder Xian Li's consideration is not bad. You are the third clan elder of our Immortal Sword sect, in charge of the Martial Sword Pavilion. Your position is illustrious. If I send you out as an envoy, it will definitely attract the attention of all parties. I indeed lack consideration. Speaking till here, the great clan elder pondered for a moment, and then asked, "Then, Xianli, who do you think is the best candidate for the envoy?" "Yan Shan." Long Xianli thought for a long time and lightly said, "Xiao." A ray of red light shot out of the mountain, straight into the clouds. The people sitting on the dusky mountain all raised their eyes to look at the light. Breakthrough. Everyone knew what this beam of light meant. Just that. Such a powerful and shocking light. What cultivation level did this person have to break through? In front of a gigantic red door embedded in a karst cave. A few people dressed in golden robes, with masks hanging on their faces, walked over. The leader had 2 daggers on his waist, and a few slender black needles hung on his body. As he walked, the black needles kept swaying, releasing waves of mosquito-like sounds. The people behind him all lowered their heads, no one dared to move, and even more did not dare to look around. The red door was huge, at least 10 meters tall, with a blood-red python engraved on it, giving off a terrifying aura. And in front of the door stood 2 women dressed in red, with red veils covering their faces. Seeing this person coming over, the 2 women walked forward, cupped their fists and greeted, "We pay our respects to the left protector." And the man who walked over nodded his head. The black needles hanging on his waist stopped, and the people behind him all raised their heads. Their lifeless eyes seemed to have returned to normal. The man raised his eyebrows, looked at the red door and said, "How long has Protector Qian Mei been in closed-door training?" Reporting to the left protector, "Master has been in closed-door training for 17 days. 17 days? Just 17 days?" The eyes on the man's mask revealed a trace of astonishment. He bit his lower lip, thought for a moment, and said, "Inform Protector Qian Mei, let her come see me." Reporting to the right protector, "Master is in closed-door training, we cannot disturb him." The 2 women knelt down, their voices filled with respect and fear. "If you don't go, I will kill you." The man's voice was very calm, as though he was saying something very normal. With that said, the 2 women trembled even more, but did not dare to get up. The man did not say anything more. With a wave of his hand, a blue light burst out, and went straight for the heads of the 2 women. If he said to kill, he would kill, without any hesitation. "Stop!" A cold shout came out. Following that, the heavy and gigantic red door suddenly opened, a red lightning rushed out and clashed with the blue light. Seeing that, the man quickly kept the blue light, and avoided the collision with the red lightning. The red lightning swayed around in front of the man, and then turned back, flying back into the red door. The man looked over. Inside the red door stood a beautiful girl dressed in red, who looked to be around 12 or 13 years old. The girl was born with a natural charm. She was exquisite, charming and enchanting, especially her ears. A pair of cute fox ears lightly trembled. Behind her perky buttocks was a huge snow-white fox tail swaying continuously. This was the Ming-Ying School's right protector Hu Qianmei. The man's eyes flashed. Suddenly, he raised his arm again, and the blue light exploded again, striking the 2 women's arms. Qi-la. The 2 women each lost an arm. The 2 of them fell to the ground in pain, crying out in pain, and sweat the size of beans dripping down. "Forget about the death penalty, you guys have to eat this," the man said. Seeing that, Hu Qianmei's face changed. She was so angry that her chest was heaving up and down. In a flash, she landed in front of the two women. Without saying a word, she used the red sword to kill. But the man did not seem to want to fight with her. He just retreated, raised his left hand to form a seal, and a black shield appeared, blocking Hu Qianmei's attack. "Right, Protector, I'm only helping you teach a lesson to a few reckless servants. Why are you so angry?" The man's voice came out, his fingers lightly pushed Hu Qianmei back, and said indifferently, "Protector who has just broken through, her body is still very weak. Do not spar with me for the time being, if she is not careful, if anything happens to Protector Hu, I will not be able to explain it to the sect leader." Hu Qianmei's face became gloomy, the hand holding the red sword tightened. She secretly clenched her teeth, then took out a bottle of pills from her storage ring, threw it to the side of the two women, and said in a low voice, "Take it, go back and take your arm." "Yes, yes, Master." The two women hurriedly stood up, endured the pain, took the pills, and walked towards the red door. Seeing that, the man's face changed slightly. "Bone tendon forming pill? This is a spirit-grade pill. You actually gave it to two servants?" "So what?" Hu Qianmei snorted. "Even if they are servants, they are still my people. They broke their arms because of me. Why did I not help them cure it?" A strange look flashed across the man's eyes. He shook his head. "What a waste!" Hu Qianmei kept the sword in her hand into the scabbard on her waist, and said indifferently, "I wonder what Protector Lu is here for? If there is nothing else, please go back. I don't have that much time to entertain you." "Protector who is so cold?" The man's mouth raised into a smile. His mask covered, ordinary people could not see it. "I looked at the direction of the red door, the rainbow rushed to the sky. I knew that Protector Hu, you have broken through again. I think you are about to step into the spirit star realm, right?" Lu Xiandong asked. "Came here just to ask about this?" "I am just curious. Protector Hu was promoted to the 9th stage only a few years ago. I never thought that you would enter the 10th stage so quickly. I am afraid I am not your opponent now. This talent, TSK. I am so envious." "Envious?" Hu Qianmei suddenly raised the corner of her mouth, sat on a rock at the side, crossed her legs and laughed. "Since you know that your strength is not as good as mine, then you better be obedient in the future, if not." Her peach blossom eyes flashed with killing intent. "I will dismantle the 8 human spirits that you painstakingly refined." "Ha ha ha ha." The man laughed out loud. His laughter was loud, and only stopped after a long while. "If you want to dismantle it, then dismantle it. It doesn't matter." Hu Qianmei frowned, but her smile disappeared. "Protector Hu, your talent is astonishing, your cultivation is not low either. I have been stuck in the 9th stage realm for many years. If I am unable to break through, it will affect my future cultivation. I will cultivate for another 2 years. If there is still no movement in 2 years, I can only propose marriage to the sect leader." "You want to marry the sect leader?" "No, I want to marry you." "Then you have to propose marriage to me." Hu Qianmei smiled. "You won't agree." The man shook his head. "You think the sect leader can make me agree?" Hu Qianmei squinted her eyes like a fox. The man did not say anything more, smiled, turned and left. After a while, a clear voice came out. "Yes." Hearing that, Hu Qianmei's face darkened, her eyebrows were filled with worry. She sat on the rock, quietly watching the man leave. After a long while, the smile on her face disappeared, and a trace of bitterness hung on her face. Chapter 93. "Who?" A deep sound came out. On the desolate grassland, Su Yun sat cross-legged and started to meditate. "I did not expect this. I really did not expect you to be so lucky." The death sword absorbed the life force of the blood soul and transformed it into profound spirit chi to nourish your withered body. but I did not expect the life force of the blood soul to be so rich in profound spirit chi. If you absorb this spirit chi, your body's recovery speed will increase by many folds. Your body's strength will also increase greatly. The Sword Elder's surprised and happy voice came out. I did not expect this either. Su Yun slowly opened his eyes and laughed. This time, it's all thanks to the Death Sword. Although the spirit essence has worsened my injuries, but with the blood soul's life force, my recovery speed has increased. In just a few days, my body has almost recovered. It can be considered a blessing in disguise. Haha, you brat's luck is so good. You saved someone and became a hero. You even got so many benefits. TSK, 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 this is real dog shit luck. Su Yun gasped for breath. He took off the blood-stained Blademaster clothes and put on the white robe that he had prepared in his storage ring. He took off his iron mask, carried the sword sheath, carried the death sword, and continued on his way. Brat, train hard. With the help of the everlasting stone, your body will be strengthened by so many treasures. In less than 10 years, you will be famous. The Sword Elder said. I know. Su Yun walked forward quietly. His eyes flashed with determination. Elder, I actually thirst for power more than anyone else. If not for the help of the Death Sword, I would have lost my life in Madame Purple Star. Can you still pull it out? The Sword Elder suddenly asked softly. Su Yun tilted his head and looked at the Black Death Sword's sword hilt that was covered with evil spirit patterns. He took a deep breath and shook his head. The Sword Elder did not say anything. It was already 7 days later when they returned to the Su family. Qing'er returned a few days earlier than Su Yun, and upon returning to the Su family, Qing'er was immediately sent to be treated, but luckily, the demonic poison was not too serious, and in a few days, Qing'er had recovered. The main house of the Su family did not pursue Qing'er's crime. After all, this was an unexpected incident. All the sects suffered heavy losses, and the Su family's losses were considered light. Hearing that Qing'er was fine, Su Yun breathed a sigh of relief and returned to the outer sect to hand in his mission. Because he did not complete the mission, he was fined 1,000 spirit coins. Fortunately, Su Yun had swindled 60,000 spirit coins from Su Huiyu, so he could still afford this small amount of money. After everything was over, Su Yun immediately went back to his small wooden hut to refine pills, and went to the back of the mountain to cultivate, no longer caring about anything else. Currently, his cultivation was still focused on the profound spirit chi. With the support of the everlasting stone, Su Yun's grasp and understanding of the profound spirit chi was improving day by day. The cultivation of the limitless sword arts and the heaven-splitting sword technique were complemented by the limitless sword art. Under normal circumstances, Su Yun would only focus on the limitless sword arts, but this time, the heaven-splitting sword technique displayed an unexpected effect, which made Su Yun pay more attention to it. Without the sky-splitting sword technique, it was hard to say who would have died in the end. In the forest behind the mountain, Su Yun held onto the 1,000-deep sword. His mind was recalling the time when he fought with the blood soul, the direction and movement of the demonic chi. In a battle between profound spirit cultivators, half of it relied on mystical techniques, and the other half relied on chi. The so-called body techniques were extremely rare. Of course, in the Sky Martial Continent, there were many who relied on their physical bodies to fight, and their techniques were superb. But such existences were extremely rare. The maintenance of the everlasting stone made his heart as clear as a mirror. His mind was clear, and his memories of the fight were extremely clear. Su Yun slowly savored the fight, and absorbed the experience from that fight. The profound spirit chi in his body seemed to have received some kind of order, and started to follow the memories in Su Yun's mind, and the chi flowed out from his spirit eye, through his chi channels, and around his body. Finally, it seeped out of his skin, and revolved around Su Yun continuously. This profound spirit chi with the pure divine spirit chi as its attribute, started to twist and fuse. They were like tiny protruding teeth, overlapping, combining, and finally twisting into a snow-white light beam, shooting straight into the sky. The light beam was extremely dim. It was so far that it could not be detected, but this was the sign of a fourth stage spirit intermediate disciple advancing to the fifth stage. Su Yun slowly opened his eyes. His eyes were even clearer, and his expression was even more graceful. With the increase of spirit essences, the number of earth spirit essences had increased to 20, and his profound spirit chi was even denser. Just by comprehending the profound spirit chi from the blood-soul cultivator, I can break through. I have to say, this blood-soul cultivator is truly an expert. Su Yun sighed and stood up feeling refreshed. He took out the 1,000-deep sword, released his pure divine spirit chi, wrapped it up, and leaped forward. Following the Limitless Sword Manual's first sword technique, Su Yun was able to control the sword on his own. Speaking of which, the Immortal Sword Sect's Imperial Sword Technique was nothing compared to the Limitless Sword Sect's Imperial Sword Technique. Even the Imperial Sword Technique was not considered a high-level technique. After advancing to the fifth stage of the Spirit Intermediate Disciple Realm, Su Yun's mind started to think about the sprite's shadow, which was as famous as the heavenly crystal. If he had the help of the Death Sword during the battle at Purple Star Academy, and the support of the sprite's shadow, the blood-soul cultivator could be killed immediately, and he would not be harmed. But to obtain the sprite's shadow was not an easy task. The preparation work was extremely arduous, and he would need at least a month to prepare. Returning to the small broken hut, the spring crystal pill furnace inside the house was about to be refined. Su Yun sat cross-legged next to the pill furnace, waiting for the birth of the strengthening muscle pill. In the afternoon, the sun was blazing hot outside. Other than the spirit cultivators, there was no one else on the street. Suddenly, the sound of gongs and drums could be heard from afar, followed by the heavy hooves of many single-horned bulls. Su Yun was suspicious. He opened the door and looked out, only to see a group of luxuriously dressed people on the bronze street. A gigantic purple-horned beast carriage landed in the middle of the crowd. The outer sect disciples ran out of their houses and watched under the scorching sun. This group of people were all dressed in luxurious gold-lined blade master robes, with sword seals on their waists. They were holding swords in their hands, riding on sturdy and tall white single-horned bulls. In front, there were more than 10 Su family inner sect disciples riding on spirit stallions leading the way. On both sides, there were outer sect elite disciples holding umbrellas to block the sun. It was obvious that these people were the Su family's welcoming party. Su Yun fixed his gaze and looked at the flag in the middle of the crowd. On the flag, there was a golden sword seal floating in the wind. Immortal Sword Sect. Su Yun was baffled. Why did the Immortal Sword Sect send people to the Su family? This battle was very imposing. Su Yun did not know which expert from the Immortal Sword Sect had come. As he thought about it, his eyes unconsciously turned to the dazzling purple-horned beast carriage in the middle. After looking at it for a moment, his face was filled with astonishment. This seems to be Bai Yen Shan's carriage? Could it be that Bai Yen Shan was using the identity of the Immortal Sword Sect to come to the Su family? But what was she doing here? Forget it, why was he thinking so much? He and she were the same. In short, she would not have any relations with him. Su Yun shook his head and turned back to the broken hut. Gotcha. At this time, a crisp sound came out from the spring crystal furnace. Su Yun was slightly happy. He quickly ran over and closed the furnace's alchemy array. When the furnace was opened, a fragrant aroma filled his nostrils. Looking into the cauldron, he saw a few jade-green pills lying quietly in the cauldron. The fragrance is abundant, the color is glossy, looks like this is big enough, 90 points. Su Yun was full of smiles. He extended his hand and fished out the few pills. What pill is this? Just at this time, a clear and sweet voice suddenly came out from the side. Su Yun was shocked. He anxiously turned his head to look, only to see a beautiful lady dressed in white standing by his side. She was tall and graceful, and her skin was as white as snow. It was unknown how soft and exquisite her skin was. Just a glance at her would be enough to hook one's soul. However, she also had an aloof and holy temperament. Even if one longed to have her, they were afraid of profaning her. She was really like a fairy, and it was hard to resist looking at her from afar, but they didn't dare to touch her. Long Xianli? Why would she appear here? Seeing this person, Su Yun was shocked. He immediately became alert. As if sensing Su Yun's subtle expression, Long Xianli's eyes flashed a trace of coldness. "Limitless, long time no see," she said coldly. Her voice was filled with cold, killing intent. Did she recognize him? No. So easily, how would she know that he was limitless? He had already covered it up very well. He was afraid that everything was just her guess. Su Yun's heart jumped as he thought. He gradually calmed down. He did not dare to admit it. After all, he did not leave any evidence that he was limitless. If he stubbornly refused to admit it, he would not allow any chance of survival. Furthermore, she was not as vicious as Hu Qianmei. She was a righteous person. If she did not have any evidence, she would not be able to kill him. Thinking about this, Su Yun pretended to be strange and said, "Are you Elder Long? What did you just say? Limitless? What is limitless? Are you talking to me? No need to pretend anymore. Limitless." Long Xianli flicked her finger. A white light flashed. When the light dissipated, a snow-white sword was placed on his neck. "Previously, I used your mask to display the 10,000 miles tracking technique. I chased you all the way from Blossom Heart Valley to the Su family. Unfortunately, both places had you. If you are not limitless, who else could it be? No way? Just based on this, she determined that I am limitless? Should it be said that this woman's senses were good or that her thinking was good? Elder Long, this matter needs to be carefully considered. This world is so big. Any kind of coincidence can happen. You cannot kill the innocent just because of your whatever technique." Su Yun quickly said. "Then you think this is a coincidence?" "That's right." Still quibbling, Long Xianli's face turned cold. "That day when I came to the Su family to investigate, I asked about you. The Su family said that you died in Marshall Bone Mountain. But now you are standing here, and you are even refining pills. Your Su family lied to me, and you lied to me. Limitless must be related to your Su family, and you must be limitless. Today, if you do not hand over the heavenly crystal and the everlasting stone, don't blame me for being ruthless. You want to kill me. You really think I don't dare?" With that, Long Xianli's murderous aura exploded. She suddenly waved her sword and directly slashed towards Su Yun's arm. She said to kill without hesitation. Chapter 94. The tip of the sword was cold and sharp. The sharp sword qi seemed to be able to cut a person's throat. This sword. There was no hesitation. But Su Yun did not move. He closed his eyes and let the sword come. Hua! The moment the sword was about to reach his neck, it suddenly stopped. The sword intent on the sword was like a whirlwind, blowing Su Yun's hair and robe. Long Xianli saw this and frowned. "Why aren't you making a move?" Su Yun slowly opened his eyes. He looked around in shock and said in fear and confusion, "Attack? What move?" Long Xianli snorted. "Stop pretending! Limitless sword god, do you think I will let you go just because you are pretending? Quickly pull out your sword and fight with me." "Elder Long, are you crazy?" Su Yun continued to act foolishly. "You." Long Xianli was flustered and her face turned red. "I am a 5th stage spirit intermediate disciple. How can I win against you? If you want to kill me, then kill me. I am not your opponent. Why do you have to make things difficult for a small fry like me?" Long Xianli heard this and her eyes drifted. The reason why she made a move was to force Su-yun to make a move. If Su-yun was really Limitless Sword God, he would be exposed with this move. But now it seemed that she was wrong. This person would rather die than make a move. Could it be that what he said was true? He thought that she was weak and was not his opponent? He was actually not Limitless Sword God. Was this all a coincidence? Thinking about this, Long Xianli felt that the clarity she had disappeared. Her mind was in a mess. Let me ask you another question. Long Xianli exhaled. Her voice was still light and gentle. Fairy, please speak. Su-yun quietly extended his hand and pinched the sword on his neck. He moved it away. Fairy? Long Xianli snorted. This person's character is steady. He was not afraid of death before. Why is it that when there is hope for him to live, he will say such nice words? He really is no different from an ordinary person. After thinking, Long Xianli said, previously in Blossom Heart Valley, you were only a spirit novice disciple. Why are you now a 5th stage spirit intermediate disciple? Can you explain how your cultivation speed is so fast? Speaking till here, Long Xianli's eyes flashed with a trace of awe. Is it the everlasting stone's help? Su-yun trembled, his heart trembled, and anxiously said, No! If you can't give me a reasonable explanation, I will kill you. Long Xianli's voice began to turn cold. Killing at the drop of a hat? Su-yun could not help but feel angry, but he did not show it. He just said in a displeased voice, If you want to kill me, do it now. Don't use this to scare me again. Do you really think I don't dare? Long Xianli's hands seemed to be accumulating profound spirit qi. I never thought that the dignified third elder of the Immortal Sword sect, Long Xianli, would actually like to bully the weak. If news of this were to spread, I wonder how the world would view her. Long Xianli was really angered by this scoundrel. Her tall and straight chest kept moving up and down. Following the movement of her veil, it was truly enough to make people's eyeballs fall out. Su-yun secretly retracted his gaze from the mountain peak, swallowed his saliva, and said, Actually, the reason is very simple. There's no harm in telling you, but I hope you won't spread it around. Are you really Limitless Sword God? Of course not. Su-yun shamelessly refused to admit it. Then, he pointed to the spring crystal furnace at the side and said, I'm a very powerful alchemist. The reason why my cultivation level increased so quickly is all because of the divine pills that I concoct. Do you really think that I am a 3-year-old child? High-level pills require the support of a strong profound spirit qi to refine. You are only a 5th stage spirit intermediate disciple. How can you possibly refine high-level pills? Long Xianli said in a low voice. It was obvious that she did not believe him. Just as she said this, Su-yun's mouth curled up into a disdainful sneer. You really have long hair, but short knowledge. You dare to insult me? Long Xianli was so angry that she clenched her teeth so hard that they almost broke. She had always been pure and had few desires. But she did not know why when she met this person, it was as if she had found a demon. She could not control her state of mind. She was always angered by his words. What's wrong with me? Long Xianli secretly asked herself. Then, she heard the person speak again. Do you want to kill me again? Of course I can. But before that, let me first explain. The majority of the high-level pills are refined by relying on the alchemy furnace and the alchemy array. These two things require a strong and vigorous profound spirit qi. But there is no rule that states that you must use your own profound spirit qi. As long as you have the money, anyone can hire an existence with a high cultivation level to instill profound spirit qi into your alchemy furnace and alchemy array. Then, it all depends on your technique and your control over the alchemy furnace and alchemy array. The amount of ingredients, the quality of the ingredients, etc. are all very meticulous. But the most important thing is the formula of the pill. Some pill formulas have more than one formula. Many pill formulas are constantly being refined and corrected. In the end, it will be the most perfect existence. All of this, I am unable to explain it to you in a short amount of time. To sum it up, I am very good at alchemy. My cultivation level increased quickly because I ate many good pills. Do you understand? Long Xianli was stunned. She had never seen such a shameless existence before. But thinking about it carefully, at that time in Broken Walk City, this person was able to distinguish the authenticity of the 9-leaf spirit grass. Presumably, he was quite accomplished in the field of alchemy, and in Blossom Heart Valley, Pill King Zhang Mo seemed to be very enthusiastic about him. He reckoned that this person was also a true talent, and that was why Zhang Mo valued him. Thinking about this, Long Xianli could not help but believe it. Her eyes turned to the few emerald green jade pills in the spring crystal furnace and asked, "What is this?" "Solid foundation pill." Su Yun said, "This is a male pill. If a man takes it, his body will be strong and his blood vessels will be active." After Long Xianli heard this, her cheeks flushed red. She lightly said, "How can you refine such a low-level pill? If you're not masculine, you're vulgar?" Su Yun was inexplicable. "I am just telling you the effects of this pill. I mainly rely on it to increase my physique. You are the one who is thinking nonsense, okay?" Long Xianli's beautiful eyes glanced at him and lightly said, "Then you said this is a male pill. Presumably there is a female pill, right?" "Of course." Su Yun nodded. "The female pill can nourish the nest and nourish the heart. It can cause a woman's complexion to be radiant and full of spirit. Her appearance is even more beautiful." "Isn't it just an ordinary beauty pill?" Long Xianli did not feel anything. Su Yun laughed. "This is just its ordinary effect. Although its effect is many times better than the beauty pill, its most powerful effect is not just this. It can make a woman's beautiful face never grow old." "Beautiful face never grow old?" Long Xianli was stunned. "Yes, it's commonly known as beauty will always be there. It won't change with the passage of time. If Fairy can take this pill according to my prescription, your beautiful appearance will always be with you. Even at the end of your life, you will still have this charming appearance, and it won't change," Su Yun said in a seductive tone. Long Xianli's beautiful eyes flashed with a trace of expectation. Everyone loved beauty, but women cared more about their own appearance. Everyone hoped that they could always be young and beautiful. However, this feeling of expectation only lasted for a while. Very quickly, it disappeared. She took a deep breath and said indifferently, "A person's appearance is just a bag of skin. Even if I am young forever, even if my skin wrinkles and I age, so what? After death, I will just be a pile of bones. Why should I care?" "Fairy is indeed free and easy." Su Yun gave a thumbs up and said, "I originally planned to gift a bottle of female pill to Fairy. Since Fairy said so, I will save it." Long Xianli heard this and her eyes flashed a trace of disappointment, but she did not say anything. Su Yun looked at her and secretly laughed. This male and female yin-yang pill was also found in the Blossom Heart Valley's secret manual. It was a dust-laden secret manual that was placed in the Blossom Heart Valley's 100 Herbs Pavilion. It was just that this secret manual was abandoned in a corner and no one had read it. Moreover, many of the words on it were already blurred. Su Yun also studied it for countless of nights before he managed to complete the incomplete parts. Currently, only he knew about it. If Fairy is really unwilling, then don't force yourself. After all, what Fairy said is right. A person's appearance is just a bag of skin. It doesn't matter if you care. You this person. Long Xianli knew that Su Yun's heart was like a clear mirror. He could see through her thoughts. She put down her sword and snorted. "You obviously know, but you still want to pretend to be ignorant. Don't tell me you really want to poke it out and make it clear?" "I am a straightforward person." "I don't think so," Long Xianli said. But she would not force it. Since she said she did not want it, It would not be right to ask for it again. Su Yun did not say anything. Long Xianli hesitated for a while and said, "If you are not Limitless Sword God, then I have misunderstood you." With that, she took out a secret manual from her bag and placed it on the table. "You have cultivated the male pill to strengthen your physique. But if you only rely on medicine to support your cultivation, there will be many side effects. This is my immortal sword sex physique technique. You can learn it. Take it as my apology to you." With that, she turned to leave. Su Yun picked up the blue cover book and glanced at it. 3 Body Induction Technique, a heart level high grade profound technique that cultivates the body. Profound techniques were divided into human, heart, spirit, earth, profound, absolute, heaven, pride, and honor. Every level was divided into 3 ranks. At this level of cultivation, having a human-level mystic skill was already very impressive. But a heart-level upper-tier mystic skill was really rare. Although this woman was rude and unreasonable, she was still reasonable and could admit her mistakes. Her attitude was also acceptable. Su Yun thought. Even if this person was indeed Limitless Sword God, and he had indeed lied to others, as Long Xianli walked to the door, she suddenly stopped. "That's right, Su Yun. What's wrong? That day in Broken Break City, I still have to thank you. It's just a small matter. Furthermore, Fairy is the 3rd elder of the Immortal Sword sect. To be able to help Fairy is my honor. You, this person, your mouth is not honest again." Long Xianli shook her head and was about to leave. At this time, her body swayed and almost fell down. She looked haggard. Seeing this, Su Yun was stunned. "What's wrong?" Chapter 95. Long Xianli quickly stabilized her body and took out a blue pill from her storage ring. She stuffed it into her mouth and closed her eyes. She stood there for a while to store her profound spirit qi. Only then did her complexion become better. Su Yun was slightly suspicious. He moved closer and sniffed. "You're poisoned. You do have some skills." Long Xianli did not deny. Su Yun closed his eyes and sniffed seriously. He felt a slightly sour smell enter his nose, but it was more of a fragrance that penetrated the heart and spleen. This was not the fragrance of rouge, but more like the fragrance of a body. Seeing that he was not done sniffing, Long Xianli frowned. "What are you doing?" Su Yun regained his senses. "Nothing." With that, he ignored Long Xianli and returned to the spring crystal cauldron. He took out a few pills and placed them into a bottle. He swallowed one and sat cross-legged to adjust his qi. Long Xianli saw this and suddenly thought of something. She walked a few steps and asked, "You're so knowledgeable about medicinal herbs and pills. Do you know what poison I'm suffering from?" Su Yun opened his eyes and glanced at Long Xianli. "Fairy is an elder of the Immortal Sword sect. How come you don't even know what poison you're suffering from? This poison is strange. How do you know I've been poisoned for a long time?" "I can smell it." Su Yun laughed. "And you just consumed 1,000 spirit pill. Although this pill can cure hundreds of poisons, to cure the poison in your body, it will take at least 3 to 5 years. Hearing this, Long Xianli pursed her lips and sighed. "This poison was caused by my senior sister's sneak attack. She wanted to kill me and specially refined this poison. I was careless and fell into her trap. Su Yun, do you have any way to cure me?" "No." Su Yun answered straightforwardly. Although he was acquainted with Long Xianli, Su Yun did not want to interact too much with her. After all, he was Limitless Sword God. If she saw through him, he would be done for. So if he could get rid of her, it would be better to get rid of her quickly. Long Xianli heard this and frowned. "Why are you so narrow-minded? Didn't you already apologize?" "That's a different matter. You wronged me. You should apologize to me. But I have no obligation to cure you." Su Yun continued to close his eyes and recuperate. Long Xianli looked at him quietly for a long time before nodding her head. Without saying anything, she turned and left. She came easily and left quickly. It was impossible for someone like her to beg bitterly. After the dilapidated house regained its peace, Su Yun continued to cultivate. He was not courteous at all. Even though he shamelessly cheated the three-body induction technique, he still openly cultivated it. It had to be said that Long Xianli was quite generous. Using this secret manual to complement the male and female yin-yang dan, the strength of his physique rose in a straight line. He became more and more spirited, and his physique became more and more robust. Although he still looked slender on the outside, the strength of his muscles and bones had increased by several fold. In the following days, Chu Yang practiced martial arts at the back of the mountain, gathered materials, and refined pills. There were almost no major twists and turns. Consuming the male pill required a period of time. Otherwise, after consuming the same pill for a long period of time, the body would develop a resistance to the pill, and the absorption of the pill would be greatly reduced. The materials provided by the Su family's shop were limited. It was not easy to refine high-level pills. Furthermore, it was difficult to purchase the materials required for the sprite's shadow. Now that Long Xianli was in the Su family, no one in the Su family had spread the news that the third elder of the Immortal Sword sect, Long Xianli, had arrived. It was clear that Long Xianli and Bai Yenshan, one in the dark and the other in the light, were both investigating the Limitless Sword God. If he left the Su family at this time and went out to purchase materials, he would definitely attract Long Xianli's attention. If she investigated the materials he bought, he would not be able to explain himself. Wait a minute. If he bought it with the excuse of refining pills, maybe he could hide it. Time was tight. He had to seize every second. While cultivating, he had to prepare. The daily routine of 3 points and 1 line continued. Green smoke floated out from the stained chimney above the broken house. Su Yun activated the array while sticking his nose out to sniff the fragrance coming from the pill furnace. A moment later, the formation stopped activating. He stood up happily and opened the cauldron. A burst of purple light appeared. Then 2 glossy and fragrant beads appeared in Su Yun's eyes. They laid quietly in the furnace. They were translucent and bright, just like 2 purple pearls. The quality is not bad. Su Yun pinched it and looked at it carefully. Although it was not as perfect as before, but based on the conditions of refining pills, it was still not bad. Oh? What pill is this? The smell is so charming. A light and elegant voice sounded out from behind Su Yun. Su Yun was startled. He turned to look, only to see that Long Xianli had quietly appeared behind him. Can't you knock on the door before coming in? Su Yun said helplessly. Why do I have to knock? The door is not closed. Long Xianli said blandly. I've been defeated by you. Su Yun shook his head. He turned around and placed the 2 purple pills on the table. Then, he took out the spirit pen he bought from the shop. He activated the profound spirit qi in his body to cover the tip of the pen. Then, he slowly wrote something on the table. The profound spirit qi on the tip of the pen began to disperse as he wrote. What is this for? Long Xianli's beautiful eyes flashed a trace of doubt. Hold the array. Su Yun simply spat out 2 words. Hold the array? Yes. Hold the array. A small array that can increase the absorption of the pill, similar to the 9-leaf spirit grass. But the effect is much worse than the 9-leaf spirit grass. Su Yun said as he continued to draw. Long Xianli replied indifferently. Then, she silently stood to the side and watched. After about the time it takes to burn 2 joss sticks, the array was completed. Su Yun casually extended his finger and pointed at the eye of the array. The small array immediately released rays of light and converged into a round luster. The rays of light, with the 2 purple pills as the center, slowly moved closer. Soon, the purple pills were surrounded and finally integrated into the purple pills. Seeing this, Su Yun immediately removed the array. He picked up the pills and carefully looked at them. Since holding the array can increase the absorption of the pill, why didn't you set up the array for the pills you took before? Long Xianli asked again. Not every pill needs to increase the absorption of the pill. Su Yun looked at the purple pills and said, some simple pills are easy to absorb, so they don't need to hold the array. Like the empty spirit pill in my hand, it has a complex structure. The pill essence inside is abnormally dense. It is hard for the human body to break it down, so it needs to be loosened by holding the array. Do you understand? Long Xianli did not say anything. After observing for a moment, Su Yun handed a pill over to Long Xianli and said, try it? The pill essence in this pill has already loosened, so it's very easy to absorb. Long Xianli frowned. What pill is this? Didn't I say it already? It's called the empty spirit pill. As for the effects, you will know after you eat it. Su Yun laughed, but his eyes flashed with a strange light. If Long Xianli did not dare to eat it, then it proved that she was still suspicious of him. If she dared to eat it, then it proved that she no longer doubted him. It all depended on whether she took the pill or not. Su Yun's heart became solemn. But not waiting for Su Yun to think, a white and soft hand reached over and took the purple pill. Su Yun was startled, but he saw Long Xianli stare at the pill for a while, then opened her lips and swallowed it. That seductive posture really made people unable to control themselves. Aren't you afraid that it's poison? Su Yun came back to his senses and asked curiously. Although you are full of nonsense and do not treat people sincerely, I feel that you are a good person. Long Xianli slightly closed her eyes and said, treating people with no sincerity and a mouth full of nonsense, how could he be a good person? Su Yun expressed that his thoughts could not keep up with this woman's rhythm. Also, I can smell the qi in this pill. It is made from winter heartfish, chrysanthemum grass, moonlight stone powder, and some other ordinary materials. It is not poisonous, so it is not poisonous. Oh! Su Yun suddenly realized. This was probably the main point. He did not say anything more and swallowed the other empty spirit pill. Then he sat down cross-legged and began to absorb the pill. Long Xianli did not need it. Her cultivation was very high. Although the empty spirit pill was of a higher grade to Su Yun and was not easy to absorb, Long Xianli could break it down in minutes. At this time, Long Xianli's face was startled. Then she quickly sat down cross-legged and began to recuperate. After a few breaths, she opened her eyes and said in surprise, this pill actually has a healing effect on the poison in my body? The effect is not big. At most, it can stabilize the injuries in your body and let you eat less of the 1,000-spirit pill. Su Yun closed his eyes and said lightly. Long Xianli was silent. After an unknown amount of time, the sun gradually set and Su Yun opened his eyes. He stretched his body and his bones suddenly made a burst of crackling sound. Cool! Su Yun moaned without any moral integrity. When he opened his eyes, the fairy-like person was still standing in front of him. Why haven't you left yet? Su Yun did not understand. I am just curious. Long Xianli bit her lower lip. Curious about what? For a person like you, if you go to any power, you will definitely be an existence that soars to the sky. Even if your cultivation is not strong, just based on your understanding of pills and arrays, it is enough for you to be rich and have no worries about food or clothing. Why? Why do you want to stay in the outer sect of the Su family? The surroundings were empty. The four walls of the house were bare, and the wooden windows had holes in them. It was truly shabby. After Su Yun heard this, his face revealed a trace of a bitter smile. I have thought of leaving. Then why don't you leave? The time is not right yet. The time is not right yet. Long Xianli did not understand. There is a person trapped in prison. I must bring her away. If I do not bring her along, even if I leave by myself, it will be meaningless. Is it Su Qing heir? Long Xianli suddenly said. Su Yun looked at her and nodded. Su Yun and Su Qing'er's relationship could be easily found out by casually inquiring about it in the outer sect. These few days in the Su family, I have heard a lot about your past. Why is it that what I have heard and what I have seen are completely different? You are such a strange person. How can I believe what I have heard? Most of it is just a rumor. Su Yun said and stood up to clean the pill furnace. That's true. Long Xianli nodded and did not say anything more. The moonlight shone down like frost from above. Su Yun scooped out the dregs from the pill furnace. When he turned to look, Long Xianli had already left. She did not make a sound. She was really mysterious. Chapter 96. These few days, it was a routine to wake up. Usually, when evening approached, Long Xianli would silently appear in the small broken hut and talk to Su Yun about the medicine and medicine. Of course, as an expert, Su Yun would also ask about the cultivation of the profound spirit cultivator, and Long Xianli would answer all of his questions. In his previous life, Su Yun was unable to cultivate due to his lack of talent. Therefore, he learned a lot of unorthodox things. For cultivation, he had to rely on himself. Although he had the support of the everlasting stone, there was no one to guide him. Long Xianli's guidance really opened his eyes. However, the relationship between the two of them had an inexplicable flavor to it. Once night fell, Long Xianli would leave without a sound. Su Yun knew that she was most likely investigating Limitless Sword God. Although that day, he felt that Long Xianli was no longer suspicious of him, there was still one thing that worried him. That was Qing'er. That day, when he used the identity of Limitless Sword God to save Qing'er from the Purple Star Academy, there were many people around. Although many people did not see the scene clearly due to the chaos, the Su family members who were saved saw it clearly. Qing'er only cared about him in the Su family. If Long Xianli made a move on Qing'er, it would make her suspicious. Forget it, as long as he did not admit it, he would hide the everlasting stone and the heavenly crystal. Su Yun sighed and thought. Although Long Xianli could guide him in his cultivation, there were many things that were inconvenient with her around. After all, he was Limitless Sword God. It would not be good if he exposed himself. However, Long Xianli seemed to be very interested in medicinal pills, so it was not convenient to expel her. In terms of strength, she could kill him with one hand. Even if he used the heavenly crystal, it would still be difficult to win against her. Su Yun's cultivation increased day by day with the help of medicinal pills. If he wanted to break through to the 6th stage, it would be very easy. The sun was setting. Kacha. A slight sound rang out in front of the broken hut. Su Yun, who was buried in front of the table, was holding a spirit pen and writing quickly. What are you doing? Long Xianli's beautiful eyes turned and curiously looked at the paper on the table. Writing a purchase list. Su Yun raised his head and thought for a while with the spirit pen under his chin. Then, he wrote 2 strokes on the paper. Success. He threw away the spirit pen and picked up the spirit paper. Purchase list. Long Xianli extended her fair and tender hand and said indifferently, Is it about the materials? Let me take a look. You won't understand. Is there anything in this world that this deity cannot understand? Long Xianli snorted. Su Yun's shifty eyes glanced at her and handed over the list. Long Xianli pinched her jade-like fingers and lightly swung it. She then placed it in front of her eyes. In the next moment, her beautiful eyebrows knitted together. After a long while, Long Xianli opened her mouth and said helplessly, What are these things? Materials. Su Yun laughed. I plan to concoct a pill that you have never seen or heard of before, but I am still lacking a lot of ingredients. These are the ingredients that the Su family's town doesn't have, so I have to go out and buy them. Then why are you listing them? Long Xianli did not understand. Because alchemy requires a lot of tedious preparation work, I don't have time to leave the Su family, so I want you to do it for me. Hearing this, Long Xianli's fair complexion suddenly sunk. How dare you? You dare to order me around? Although she had been discussing pills and cultivation with Su Yun for many days, the relationship between the two was subtle, but this could not change anything. Long Xianli was still the third elder of the Immortal Sword sect. Her status was illustrious. How could Su Yun compare to her? So here you are, still maintaining your identity as the third elder of the Immortal Sword sect? Su Yun asked curiously. Long Xianli did not say anything. After a moment, the anger on her face disappeared. She did not make a sound. She coldly snorted and turned to leave. Today, she left early. Su Yun did not know if she was angered by Su Yun, but he did not care. He did what he had to do. The tranquil days were somewhat throbbing. These few days, Long Xianli did not come, which made Su Yun feel a little lonely. Xian Yu and Xingyang were in the inner sect. They were usually busy with tasks, so there was no one to talk to. However, this tranquility was quickly broken. An uproar of news spread to Su Yun's ears. Su Qing'er and Bai Yenshan wanted to fight for 7 months. 7 months later, all the regions in the southern continent would hold a grand event. This event was held once every 3 years. All the sects and forces would gather. It was called the Meeting of Heroes. Su Qing'er strongly requested to fight with Bai Yenshan, but was rejected by Bai Yenshan. Su Qing'er was not willing to give up. She forcefully made a move to force Bai Yenshan to submit. But in the end, she was stopped by the patriarch, Su Lixiong. Because of this, Su Qing'er was sentenced to confinement. After hearing the news, Su Yun's heart was filled with suspicion. Su Qing'er had always been steady. Why was she so impulsive this time? He was worried that something might happen. He did not care much and rushed to the main house of the Su family. Su Yun was not unfamiliar with the main house. He contacted Xian Yu and Xingyang. With their help, he carefully snuck into the main house. Inside the tranquil little garden, 2 maids with swords stood at the entrance of the little garden. In the middle of the night, Su Yun glanced at the maid at the entrance of the little garden. He looked at the surroundings. Seeing that the security of the little garden was not strict, he directly climbed over the wall and entered. Su Qing'er's character was gentle. For Su Yun, she listened to everything the main house said. Su Lixiong did not think that Su Qing'er would escape confinement, so he did not send any strict guards to guard her. Su Yun carefully entered the little garden and walked into the house. Gotcha. The door was gently pushed open. Who is it? A loud voice sounded out. Then, a clanging sound could be heard. A sword was unsheathed. Qing'er, it's me. Su Yun directly entered and called out. In the dark house, Su Qing'er, who was wearing a blade master outfit and holding a sword, was stunned. Seeing Su Yun walk in, she was startled. Young master, why are you here? I heard that you were sentenced to confinement by the patriarch, so I rushed over, Su Yun said. Hearing this, Qing'er's heart suddenly felt warm. She did not know why, but ever since the young master was seriously injured by the inner sect people, his temperament had changed. Not only did he not cause trouble, but he also knew how to care for others. Was it the spirit of the master and the madam in heaven? Qing'er thought silently. Xian'er smiled. Young master, I'm fine. Seeing that the young lady's face was like a flower and nothing happened to her, Su Yun was finally relieved. Qing'er, your temperament has always been steady. Why are you so impulsive this time? Why did you go and provoke Bai Yenshan? Why? Su Yun asked. Qing'er sighed. Young master, Qing'er was forced to do so. Forced to do so? What do you mean? Bai Yenshan represented the Immortal Sword sect to visit our Su family. Her goal was to investigate the Limitless Sword God. They heard that the Limitless Sword God saved our Su family alone, and thought that the Limitless Sword God is related to our Su family. That's why there was this disturbance. Bai Yenshan did not say anything, but the other people from the Immortal Sword sect kept asking me about the Limitless Sword God, and kept monitoring me. Because of this, I had to find Bai Yen Shan for a duel, to make the patriarch angry, and put me in confinement. That way I could have some peace. That's it? Su Yun asked. Qing Er shook her head. To young master, Qing Er does not dare to hide anything. Peace is just one aspect. The other aspect is that the limitless sword god saved my life. No matter what, Qing Er will not betray him. Furthermore, Bai Yen Shan broke off the engagement with young master. This is a humiliation to young master, and it will be hard for young master to stand in the Su family. If Bai Yen Shan does not accept it, then so be it. But if Bai Yen Shan accepts the duel with me, Qing Er will definitely seek justice for young master. Hearing that, Su Yun was extremely moved. In terms of cunning, he could not compare to Qing Er. Regardless of the outcome of the duel, it was what she wanted to see. But Bai Yen Shan refused to duel with me. Qing Er sighed and said, "This girl is proud and arrogant. She never cares about people who are weaker than her. Facing my challenge, she did not even bother about it. I'm afraid that in her eyes, I am not qualified." It seemed that Qing Er wanted to stand up for Su Yun, and not for peace and quiet. Su Yun smiled indifferently. Don't care about her. Her arrogance is her own business. You have to be careful in the main house. You have to be careful when you do things. Be careful step by step and be careful. Qing Er heard and was stunned. Young master, didn't I say these words to you on a daily basis? Is that so? Maybe I've heard too much. Su Yun smiled awkwardly. In the past, when Su Yun was causing trouble in the inner sect, Qing Er often said these words. Qing Er did not say anything. A pair of bright eyes carefully looked at Su Yun. After a long time, she sighed. Young master, I don't know why, but Qing Er feels that you are not like the young master I knew in the past. Did something happen? Su Yun was stunned. Qing Er was very sensitive. After he woke up, his temperament was very different from before. How could she not sense it? However, if he told her about his rebirth, she would not be able to accept it in a short period of time. It would be better to wait until he escaped from the Su family, and then tell her everything. Qing Er, let's talk about it later. I will take you away from the Su family. Su Yun took a deep breath and said, Take me away from the Su family? Qing Er shook her head. Young master, why do you think so? Let's not talk about why we have to leave the Su family. Just based on the Su family's strength and influence, it is not something we can imagine. If we leave without permission, we will be killed. There is no possibility of survival. Su Yun did not say anything. He just showed a relieved smile. As long as you are safe, I will take care of everything. With that, Su Yun immediately got up and left the small garden. Looking at the back of the young master, Qing Er was slightly stunned. Young master, what happened? It was already midnight when he returned to the outer sect. Su Yun did not have anything on his mind, so he did not rest and directly sat cross-legged to practice. Long Xian Li most likely would not come at night, so he could also practice the limitless sword art. A rapidly flying sword collided randomly in the night sky, its sharp aura like a knife tearing apart everything it touched. Wherever it went, nothing could stop it. When the sky turned white, Su Yun left the back of the mountain, gasping for breath. Once he returned to the hut, he meditated. But not long after, he heard a thud, and the sound of light footsteps rang out in his ears. Su Yun opened his eyes and looked to the side. He saw Long Xian Li panting lightly. Her pretty face was overflowing with sweat, and she was standing beside him. A fragrant scent entered his nose. That scent penetrated the heart and lungs. It was intoxicating. What happened to you? Looking at Long Xian Li's appearance, Su Yun could not help but laugh. Fairy's cultivation is so high. Why do you look like you just went through a big battle? Are you tired? Long Xian Li did not say anything. She took a deep breath and glanced at him. Then, she took out a bunch of things from her storage ring and placed them on the table. Su Yun looked and was immediately stunned. Chapter 97. There was a dazzling array of items on the table. There were dozens of them. There were bright gems, wood that emitted a strong qi, and all kinds of sparkling silk threads. These things were all materials on the list that Su Yun had previously listed. You went to buy these things for me? Su Yun turned and asked in surprise. I'm quite interested in the pill you're talking about, so I'll buy it for you. Take these ingredients and allow me to watch from the side when you're refining the pill. Long Xianli said lightly. If Fairy wants to watch, then of course it's allowed. Su Yun laughed. I never thought that Fairy would actually travel thousands of miles to collect materials for me. Thank you. Don't thank me. Thousands of miles in my eyes is just a matter of a moment. I just met some thieves on the way and used up some of my strength. Long Xianli said lightly. Fairy is almighty, I admire you. Su Yun laughed. His heart was happy. Previously, he was worried about these materials. He did not expect Long Xianli to give him an unexpected surprise. In such a short period of time, she was able to gather all the materials. It had to be said that Long Xianli had some ability. If it was Su Yun, it would have taken at least a month. But then again, are these things really used to refine pills? Long Xianli suddenly said. I see that there are 5 silk, golden jade leaves and other things. These things have never been used to refine pills before. It seems like they are used to set up arrays. When Su Yun heard this, he jumped a little and laughed. You just haven't seen them used to refine pills. It doesn't mean that they can't be used to refine pills. Not to mention, these things are not all used to refine pills. Most of them are supplementary materials for refining pills. Is that so? Long Xianli nodded and felt that it was reasonable. She had doubts before, but thinking that Su Yun's attainments in pills were very high and the pills he refined were also very strange and dazzling, she suppressed her doubts in her heart. At this time, Long Xianli's cheeks turned pale. Her chest rose and fell slightly. Her eyes flashed with a trace of pain. Her body swayed and she almost lost her footing. When she looked again, her pink lips were overflowing with dark red blood. What happened to you? Su Yun was surprised and asked quickly. It's no big deal. Long Xianli took a deep breath and took out the 1,000 spirits pill from her storage ring, preparing to swallow it. But before the pill entered his mouth, it was taken away by Su Yun. Su Yun, what are you doing? Long Xianli did not understand. Su Yun shook his head. Although this 1,000 poison pill can cure hundreds of poisons, it is actually using poison to fight poison. If you use it for a long period of time, it will combine the poison in your body, but it will leave a poison root in your body. In the future, when it explodes, the consequences will be severe. You cannot use it anymore. Long Xianli's long eyelashes trembled as a trace of astonishment flashed past her eyes. Su Yun casually threw away the 1,000 poison pill and said, Where are you injured? Can I have a look? I wasn't injured when I killed those rascals earlier. I'm talking about where you were poisoned. Su Yun said, Originally, the emptiness spirit pill that I gave you before was able to suppress the poison in your body, but you continuously used your qi, causing the poison to flare up, which is why it is like this. If you do not treat the poison in your body as soon as possible, it will definitely affect your cultivation in the future. Long Xianli heard this and her face congealed. After a long time, she sighed heavily. I never thought that senior sister would hate me to the bone. You actually used such a rare poison to deal with me. Even though the Immortal Sword sect has been passed down for thousands of years, it is still useless against this poison. It seems like I have to seek help from the Almighty Blossom Heart Valley. Almighty Blossom Heart Valley? Su Yun's eyes widened, then he laughed. There are not many Almighty Blossom Heart Valley, but there is one standing in front of you. You know how to refine pills, but you also know how to cure poison? How can a person who knows how to refine pills not know how to cure poison? That is nothing. Su Yun laughed. You've worked hard to help me buy these ingredients, so I'll help you take a look. That way we don't owe each other anything. Su Yun did not like to owe others anything. Putting aside the matter of Limitless Sword God, Long Xianli treated him with utmost sincerity, and did not lie. Limitless Sword God's matters were all caused by things. Their standpoints were different and could not be compared. In this period of time, her guidance on his cultivation was extremely important. Su Yun felt that he was not far from the 6th stage of the spirit intermediate disciple realm. Furthermore, Long Xianli had been rushing to buy ingredients, which caused the suppressed poison to erupt again. It was all caused by him, so he felt somewhat guilty. Su Yun's words caused Long Xianli's eyes to darken. "You really want to cut off all relations with me?" Hearing this, Su Yun was a little lost in thought. Did this sound like the words that the gentle and elegant fairy would say? Long Xianli seemed to sense something was wrong. Her cheeks flushed red and she took a deep breath. Her expression became indifferent again. The speed at which her face changed was rather fast. Su Yun was already used to it. He laughed. "I'm not cutting off all relations, we're just helping each other. These ingredients are very important to me. Since you helped me so quickly, I naturally want to repay you. We can be considered friends, right?" "Friends?" Long Xianli thought for a while and nodded. "Then where are you injured? Let me take a look. Even someone of your cultivation level could not withstand it. This shows how powerful this poison is. It cannot be delayed," Su Yun said seriously. Hearing this, Long Xianli suddenly became silent and did not say a word. Su Yun was slightly suspicious and said, "Fairy? Xianli, what's wrong? Where are you injured? Let me take a look." "There are differences between men and women. If you have such intentions, Xianli understands. This matter, let's just forget about it." Long Xianli hesitated for a while, then opened her cherry lips and said, "Then if you don't treat it, what should I do? Let it be? In the future, I'll go to Blossom Heart Valley to find some prescriptions." I understand Blossom Heart Valley very well. Your cultivation level is high. To tell you the truth, other than the few elders, the Valley Master and the Pill King, no one else can cure your poison. Other than the Valley Master, they are all men. It's not convenient for you to find them, right? Seems like the fairy's injury is rather obscure. Why not let those old men take advantage of me? Su Yun thought. If Long Xianli knew of his dirty thoughts, he did not know if she would stab him to death with her sword. But to say that he was despicable, it was just a side effect. Su Yun still wanted to repay Long Xianli for buying ingredients for him. Long Xianli was still hesitating. Su Yun laughed and did not force her. He said, "Xianli, this matter depends on you. Sickness does not fear treatment. Doctors do not avoid taboo. Think about it yourself." With that, he began to arrange the ingredients on the table. Long Xianli stood by the side. After a long silence, a sweet voice came out. "Su Yun, maybe. I am too rigid," she said softly. Su Yun looked up at her. He saw Long Xianli gritting her teeth, as if she had made a decision. "Senior sister, this poison is really powerful. I pursue the pinnacle of the sword Tao. With this poison in my body, it will only be detrimental to my cultivation. Since you have a way, then please help me treat it." Her voice was resolute, as if she had made a difficult decision. Seeing that, Su Yun laughed. "If you take the 1,000 poison pill, you can use poison to fight poison. As for this poison, it will work. I will think of a way in the future. As for the side effects of the 1,000 poison pill, if you are worried about the relationship between a man and a woman, it is better not to let me treat you. But the 1,000 poison pill is slow, you may have to suffer a bit." "No need." Long Xianli breathed out the fragrance and said, "Let's do it like this. Su Yun, you do it." It seemed like she had made up her mind. Su Yun nodded. He did not refuse and walked over. He saw Long Xianli walking to the side of the old bed. Suddenly, she extended her jade hands and pinched the gauze like thin cloth. Then, she pulled it down. The gauze that was as thin as a cicada's wing slid down the delicate white skin. That perfect collarbone and the smooth lines immediately entered Su Yun's eyes. She was as beautiful as jade. Delicate and elegant. She was like a masterpiece of the heavens. A little more would be too much, and a little less would be too little. In addition, she was noble and pure. She had an inviolable temperament. She was like a freshwater character. It greatly stimulated a man's desire to conquer. If he could obtain such a companion for dual cultivation, then no matter how bitter the path of spirit cultivation was, it would be sweet. Su Yun's eyes stared straight. His mind was in pain. He felt that the only thing that could be compared to this woman was Hu Qianmei's bewitching technique. The pure white gauze was still slipping down. Su Yun felt that his mind was trembling even more. Could it be that injury? The gauze fell to the right side of Long Xian Li's chest. It stopped, revealing a small portion of her perky breast. It was pure white and exquisite. Anyone who saw it would feel like their soul was about to leave their body. The woman pretended to be indifferent. However, her cheeks were already pink. Her eyes flashed with a trace of panic. At times, a trace of complexity flashed past. It was hard to understand her current thoughts. However, the only thing that was eye-catching was that on the right side of her chest, below her shoulder blade, a slender sword scar appeared in Su Yun's eyes. The sword scar was a little black. Although it had stopped bleeding, it was like a black footprint in the snow. It was extremely glaring. Why don't you take a look at this poison? What poison is it? Long Xian Li's slightly trembling voice came out. Okay. Su Yun secretly swallowed a mouthful of saliva. His throat was dry. He felt that his entire person was not normal. He pinched the flesh on his body to wake himself up. What's wrong with me? Why is my mind so unstable? Long Xian Li trusts me. That's why. If I still have such evil thoughts, how can I live up to her trust in me? Furthermore, Qing Er is still being bullied in the main house. How can I think about this kind of thing? Su Yun fiercely swallowed a breath. The fire in his eyes gradually faded, and he regained his clarity. Long Xian Li quietly looked at him. Seeing that he had regained his calmness so quickly, the shyness in her heart also disappeared. She could not help but look at Su Yun in a new light. Does it hurt here? Su Yun extended his hand and touched the wound. Long Xian Li's delicate body trembled. Her pure white neck was suffused with a burst of red. She gently shook her head and breathed. It doesn't hurt. It's just that it's a little numb. Numb? Su Yun frowned. He thought for a while. Suddenly, he stretched his head over. Getting close to the wound, he sniffed. This person's head was very close to her soft breast. The fragrance of her body almost surrounded him. This feeling of intimacy was simply embarrassing. What are you doing? Long Xian Li was startled. Her beautiful face turned white. Her hand trembled. A slender snow-white sword appeared. She was about to stab Su Yun. Su Yun was startled. He could not react at all. Chapter 98. Whoosh. The snow-white sword pierced towards Su Yun's head like lightning. Its speed was unbelievably fast. With Long Xian Li's cultivation level suddenly making a move, with Su Yun's current cultivation level, it was impossible for him to react. Just that. When the sword was about to reach Su Yun's head, it suddenly changed its trajectory and pierced towards the side of the table. The table was immediately shattered by the sword's aura. Su Yun's heart jumped and his face changed. What are you doing? I should be the one saying that. Long Xian Li's cheeks were red and she said angrily, You lecher, how dare you disrespect me like this? Fuck. Su Yun could not help but curse. You are a patient and I am a spirit doctor. Now that you are poisoned, I have to analyze the components of the poison in your body before I can refine an antidote for you. Do you expect me to use my eyes to identify the poison? When Long Xian Li heard this, her anger subsided and her expression turned cold. Is there no other way? Although I know a little about acupuncture, it is extremely difficult to prepare a good set of silver needles. I am afraid that once the ordinary silver needles enter your skin, they will be broken by the spirit chi covering the surface of your skin. Therefore, acupuncture is useless. Other than that, there is no other way. Oh, there is one more, Su Yun suddenly said. What method? This. Su Yun hesitated for a moment. You should not agree. When Long Xianli heard this, she indifferently said, Tell me. Su Yun suddenly opened his mouth and revealed his fat tongue. He then said, If I lick it, I can also analyze the components. This appearance and this action, it was really shameless and vulgar. I will kill you, you lecher. Long Xianli was so angry that her chest violently rose and fell. She stood up and pulled out her sword. Suddenly, the cicada's thin gauze that was hanging on her body slid down her delicate and smooth skin, revealing a goose-yellow underwear with a picture of a mandarin duck playing in the water. Her perky breasts pushed the underwear up high, revealing two light protruding peaks. Su Yun was stunned. Long Xianli was also stunned. Who would have thought that Long Xianli, such an elegant person, who was like a fairy, would actually wear an undergarment with a picture of a mandarin duck playing in the water, that? Su Yun opened his mouth dryly and felt his lower abdomen heat up. There was a direct reaction from his lower abdomen. The effect of eating the male and female yin-yang pills made that part of his body feel like an iron pillar. If he still didn't have any reaction at this time, it wouldn't be a problem with his mind, but a problem with his man. Long Xianli quickly regained her senses. She anxiously hugged her chest and pulled up her clothes. Her face was cold and she bit her lips. Her beautiful eyes were filled with tears. Have you seen enough? A voice that was as cold as a knife rang out. No, it was an accident. Su Yun coughed. Long Xianli did not say anything, her cheeks flushed red, but the sparkles in her eyes increased. To be able to make a strong martial artist like her feel wronged, Su Yun suddenly felt proud. However, this woman's methods were too strong, and he couldn't go too far. Otherwise, if she couldn't control herself and killed him, it would really be a loss. Su Yun took a deep breath and walked over. What are you doing? Let go. Long Xianli hesitated for a moment, then moved her trembling hands away. Su Yun moved his head over and sniffed the wound. Then, he turned around and walked towards the spring crystal furnace. Finished? Long Xianli asked in shock. You want me to lick it? Don't even think about it, lowly person. Che, even if you're willing, I'm not. You think you're so popular. Everyone wants a bite? What if you haven't bathed for a few days and your body is covered in sweat? Su Yun said as he rummaged through the ingredients in his storage ring. Long Xianli felt that her lungs were about to explode. Her hand that was holding onto the sword trembled uncontrollably. The temperament that she had cultivated for so many years was shattered by this shameless person. She gritted her teeth and snorted. The door of the broken house suddenly opened and a white light flew out. She disappeared into the horizon. Just like that? Didn't you say you wanted to watch me concoct pills? Su Yun looked outside and shouted a few words, but no one responded. Long Xianli's poison could not be said to be complicated. It could only be said to be exquisite because the process of releasing the poison was coordinated with profound spirit qi. This was a type of qi poison. It was not like ordinary liquid poisons or material poisons. This poison could disguise itself as profound spirit qi, and when it was released, it could not be detected by others. The most powerful point of this poison was that it could easily permeate through all profound spirit qi. The pharmacology of this poison was extremely broad, just like how water could permeate through sand. Although Long Xianli's cultivation was strong, her true qi could not protect her body from this poison. The person who created this poison must have a high cultivation level. After mixing the ingredients, Su Yun placed everything aside. He took the things that Long Xianli had bought and began to prepare. There were many ingredients. Other than some quality ingredients that could be bought from the market, there were a bunch of rare ingredients. These rare ingredients were at least in the upper level of the spirit grade. Even if one had money, they might not be able to buy them. The reason why it took a month was because most of the time was spent on these rare ingredients. But he did not expect Long Xianli to get all of them. He did not know where she got them from. Could it be that she used the name of the Immortal Sword sect to borrow them? Blood imbibing pen, bone rolling rope, flying sky moon mirror, star pearl, 9 luo jade heart needle. These things were strange and dazzling. They did not look like ingredients at all. They looked more like tools. In fact, these were tools to set up arrays. They had nothing to do with concocting pills. Su Yun felt guilty towards Long Xianli. These things were all used to obtain the sprite's shadow, and not to concoct pills. If she told him, it would not be good. Su Yun opened up the gigantic Flying Sky Moon Mirror. Flying Sky Moon Mirror was like a thin piece of papyrus. However, it was crystal jade in color. This Flying Sky Moon Mirror was 5 feet long and 5 feet wide. It was carved out by an expert from a rare sun-moon turquoise that had absorbed the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. Flying Sky Moon Mirror could be said to be something that could not be bought with money. To obtain this item, one could only go to the Sky Sun auction and wait for news. After placing the Flying Sky Moon Mirror on the ground, Su Yun picked up the blood imbibing pen and started to draw carefully on the Flying Sky Moon Mirror. Images of demons appeared on the Flying Sky Moon Mirror. 100 Demon Exterminating God Array. It was an array that was as famous as the Sky Demon Array, 100 Demon Killing God. It was created by the ancestors of the Devil sect. On top of it, there were 100 portraits of demons that had killed gods and slaughtered immortals in the demonic continent. They were arranged and distributed. This array was full of evil qi and was abnormally overbearing. It was not easy to set up this array. Although Su Yun occasionally practiced this array, he only had a 60% chance of completing it. This was because if there was a mistake in the array, it would completely fail. Furthermore, the process of creating the array was extremely complicated and could not be disturbed. After the images were drawn, he had to use the star pearl to set up the array core. After confirming the array core, he used the 9 luo jade heart needle to prick his finger and drip fresh blood. Every day, he would drip fresh blood into the array core and imbue it with profound spirit qi. This would continue for 49 days before the array core would be formed. The array core had to be left empty. Otherwise, once the array was completed, it would automatically activate. At that time, the evil qi would soar to the sky. Not to mention the outer sect of the Su family, even the inner sect and the main sect would be able to sense it. After he was done, he used the bone roll rope to tie the Flying Sky Moon Mirror with the 100 Ghost Killing God array drawn on it. The bone roll rope could stabilize the array within the mirror and temporarily seal its energy so that it would not suffer any damage. The Flying Sky Moon Mirror could grant all the requirements of the array. When the two items were used together, it was equivalent to a large mobile array, a huge scroll. Of course, after arranging all the materials, Su Yun was still stuck at the stage of dripping blood to create the array core. It was difficult to complete in a short period of time. He did not dare to choose to do it during the day. If Long Xianli saw him, it would be hard to explain. Every time, he would start at night. These few days, Long Xianli did not come. He did not know what happened. Just yesterday, Bai Yan Shan brought the people of the Immortal Sword sect and left with great fanfare. It seemed that she did not gain anything. Su Yun thought about it. He looked at the small blue bottle that was placed on the newly bought table and gently shook his head. You don't come in contact with the outer sect all day? At this moment, the familiar and elegant voice rang in his ears like a wind chime. Su Yun turned his head, only to see the beautiful figure standing there silently. You're finally here. Su Yun laughed. I'm here to say goodbye. Long Xianli tilted her head and said softly. Goodbye. Yes, we're going back to the Immortal Sword sect. That's true. You've been here for a while. Is there no clue from Limitless Sword sect? Nothing. Maybe we'll go to the Purple Star Academy to look for clues. Oh. Su Yun did not say anything. Long Xianli looked at him with her beautiful eyes. Her eyes flashed a trace of hesitation. Finally, she opened her mouth. Su Yun, are you willing to return to the Immortal Sword sect with me? What? Su Yun was shocked. He looked at the woman in disbelief. When did Long Xianli become so open? She probably felt that her words were ambiguous. Long Xianli's cheeks turned red. She took a deep breath and calmed herself down. Then, she said, don't misunderstand. I just don't want to bury a talent. You have high attainments in arrays and pills, but you're stuck in the outer sect of the Su family. It's a pity. If you're willing to work for the Immortal Sword sect, I can help you take Qing Air away. The two of you can enter the Immortal Sword sect together. With the protection of the Immortal Sword sect, I believe the Su family will not fall out with the Immortal Sword sect because of the two of you. A powerful alchemist was extremely important to any sect or force. The reason why Blossom Heart Valley was not strong but no one dared to provoke them was because they had a valley alchemist. Looking at Su Yun's understanding of pills, it seemed to be comparable to the Pill King and the others. It was even more important. So that was what Long Xianli was thinking. Su Yun heaved a sigh of relief. His heart was moved, but he shook his head. You refuse? Actually, I want to agree, but you can't do it. Su Yun smiled bitterly. Can't do it? Long Xianli frowned. Yes, the person you see is only on the surface. Firstly, Qing Air is extremely important to the Su family. The Su family will not agree to let Qing Air leave the Su family. Even if the patriarch of the Immortal Sword sect came personally, it would be useless. Oh, Long Xianli said indifferently. Why? Because Qing Air is someone that the Profound Sky sect wants. Su Yun said softly. Profound Sky sect? Long Xianli's eyes flashed with astonishment. After a moment, she seemed to have thought of something. Her face revealed a look of understanding. You mean to say that the Su family plans to climb up the big tree that is the Profound Sky sect? Maybe things are not as simple as we think. But let them be. I just want to bring Qing Air away. Su Yun waved his hand tiredly. Long Xianli looked at Su Yun quietly. Her beautiful face flashed a trace of loneliness. Do you like Qing Air? She asked gently. Chapter 99. Hearing Long Xianli's question, Su Yun was really at a loss. Did he like her? He thought about it and felt that it did not seem like it. But he could not say that he did not like her. Qing Air occupied a large part of his heart. She was like a part of his heart that he could not let go. She is my last family member. She is very important to me. Maybe we are not related by blood, but in this world, she is the one I care about the most. And she cares about me the most. After thinking for a long time, Su Yun opened his mouth. Long Xianli's eyes flashed with a strange light. She nodded and did not say anything. She took out a few pills from her bosom and placed them on the table. In this period of time, I have been in contact with you. I have learned a lot about pills. You can be considered as half a mentor to me. The Su family's matters are complicated. You must be careful. Although your thoughts are meticulous, your cultivation level is still too low. Do not force yourself. If you can avoid the sharp edge, avoid the sharp edge. The shot hits the bird that sticks out. Do not try to be brave. Do not let others worry. If there are any difficulties, you must come to the Immortal Sword sect to inform me. This is the Immortal Sword sect's Heart Bud Pill. The ingredients used to refine it are rare. No matter how good your alchemy skills are, you may not be able to obtain it. It can help you easily enter the 6th stage of the Spirit Intermediate Disciple Realm. Take one pill each time. Do not rush your cultivation. You must be steady. Being too hasty will only produce the opposite of what you want. Long Xianli slowly said. Her soft voice was like a spring breeze blowing in the ear. It was very intoxicating. Su Yun quietly looked at her soft and beautiful face. His heart was unprecedentedly light. This was a feeling that he had never felt before. She probably felt that she had said too much. Long Xian Li's cheeks turned pink. She hastily ended the last few sentences. She put down the bottle and turned to leave. Wait. Suddenly, Su Yun stretched out his hand and held onto the soft, white and tender little hand. Long Xian Li's whole body trembled. Her pair of beautiful eyes were filled with astonishment as she looked at him. But she surprisingly did not break free. She just turned her pink face to the side. She did not look at this bad guy. Su Yun did not let go. He smiled. That, can I ask you a question? Speak. Do you treat everyone like this? You. Long Xian Li's beautiful eyes suddenly became anxious, her expression became angry. She retracted her soft hands, snorted, and turned to leave. In the blink of an eye, she left the wooden house and disappeared. Su Yun scratched his head, a little confused. He just wanted to understand more. After all, when he fought with Long Xian Li as Limitless Sword God, he always felt that this woman was very cold. Looking at it now, it seemed that his feeling was wrong. What kind of person was she? Could it be that this little girl from the Immortal Sword sect has fallen for me? Su Yun examined himself and felt that it was possible. After Long Xianli left, the shabby hut became cold and cheerless again. However, Su Yun did not stop to rest. Every day, after he finished cultivating, he would do some preparatory work. After consuming the heart bud pill given by Long Xianli, his profound spirit qi quickly became restless. There were faint traces of a breakthrough. Su Yun did not dare to be negligent. He quickly sat cross-legged and adjusted his qi. In just a week's time, he had once again leapt from the 5th stage of the spirit intermediate disciple realm to the 6th stage. In just half a month's time, he had broken through to the next stage. This speed was really against the heavens. Su Yun was extremely happy. Even the Sword Elder, who had been asleep for half a month, was awakened by the profound spirit qi. Knowing that Su Yun had broken through again, the Sword Elder was so shocked that he could not speak. Of course, the everlasting stone and the heart bud pill played a significant role. After breaking through, he could not slack off in his cultivation. However, time was pressing, so he had to make the best use of his time to prepare. On this day, Su Yun was still in the shabby hut using the 9 silk jade heart needles. Drops of blood that were rich in profound spirit qi fell on the 100 demon extermination god array, dyeing it blood red. Do. At this time, a hurried knocking sound came from the door. Su Yun was surprised. He immediately removed the 9 silk jade heart needles and rolled up the flying sky moon mirror. He immediately went to open the door. But before he could open the door that was on the verge of collapse was kicked open. Quang dang! The door fell to the ground, splashing a large amount of dust. Who is it? Su Yun's face sank as he angrily shouted. The inner sect disciple, Su Xianzhen. The person arrogantly shouted, "Where is Su Yun?" "Here." A whisper came out. Su Xianzhen looked up. He did not see the person, but saw a huge iron fist coming towards his face. The speed of the iron fist was extremely fast. The wind from the fist was strong and imposing. He did not have time to dodge, and was hit by the iron fist. His body flew backwards and directly fell out of the door. He fell to the ground and rolled twice. When he got up, his nose was full of blood. Xianzhen? Are you okay? You actually dare to touch our inner sect disciple. I think you don't want to mingle in the Su family anymore? The other 2 inner sect disciples ran over to help Su Xianzhen up. One of them clenched his teeth and stared at Su Yun. His eyes were filled with anger. They were 3 inner sect disciples. Their clothes were gorgeous, and they had a badge hanging on their waist. Each of them had a strong qi. They were all 1st stage spirit intermediate disciple. In the outer sect, they were not ordinary people. But in front of Su Yun, they were not worth mentioning. Mingle in the Su family? Su Yun's mouth curled up in an evil smile. He said, "The Su family's rules do not state that outer sect disciples are not allowed to beat up inner sect disciples? I hit him, what can you do to me?" According to the Su family's rules, the inner sect disciples were not allowed to bully the outer sect disciples. But there was no difference in the family rules. The outer sect disciples who were bullied were hindered by the power of the inner sect disciples. Even if they were bullied, they would not dare to announce it. But the family rules did not state that the outer sect disciples were not allowed to bully the inner sect disciples, because even the patriarch who set the rules felt that it was impossible. If someone had the strength to bully the inner sect disciples, how could he still be an outer sect disciple? Unfortunately, there was a freak here. Su Yun, you are really savage. Today I will teach you a lesson and teach you how to be a man. With a face full of anger, Su Sanfeng rushed forward. He gathered his profound spirit chi into his fist and rushed forward. Compared to the outer sect disciples, this fist was extremely swift and fierce. The fingers on the fist were constantly squirming. The strength of the fist quickly changed. Bursts of energy covered the fist, but Su Yun's chi was restrained. He did not let the inner sect disciples know his current cultivation level. This group of people thought that Su Yun was only a 10th stage spirit novice disciple. They could casually humiliate him. The fist was not close yet. Suddenly, a hand reached out and quickly grabbed the wrist of the fist. Right. A crisp sound rang out. The fist that was rushing forward suddenly slowed down. The inner sect disciple, Su Sanfeng, was stunned. His eyes widened as he looked at Su Yun, only to see a foot fiercely kicking towards his abdomen. Dong! Su Sanfeng was directly kicked flying. He crashed into a large rock behind him. When he fell, he was no longer moving. He had actually fainted. One kick and the inner sect disciple had fainted. This Motherf Kerr was an outer sect disciple? Su Xianzhen and Su Sanfeng were completely dumbfounded. You should have heard of my name, Su Yun, right? Su Yun patted his hem and walked over. He stared at the two and said, "In any case, I killed Su Kuang. What? Have you forgotten? Do you want me to kill another inner sect disciple? Let you have a deeper impression of me?" As his voice fell, his eyes flashed with a strong killing intent. The two were so scared that they could not stand up. Su Xianzhen then remembered the inner and outer sect martial arts competition that caused a huge uproar in the competition. You are the Su Yun who killed Su Kuang? Su Xianzhen trembled. How many Su Yuns are there in the outer sect? The two were so scared that they did not dare to speak. Who would have thought that this outer sect disciple would be so savage? Su Yun frowned and immediately asked, "Speak. What are you looking for me for?" That the inner sect has issued an order. 3 days later, they want all the appointed people go to Tai Ching Lakeside to kill the demon. Su Xianzhen gathered his courage and said with a trembling voice, 3 days later, go to Tai Ching Lakeside to kill the demon? Su Yun heard this and lowered his head to think. After a moment, he raised his head and asked, "Do you know what demon it is?" "It is said to be the Heavenly Scale Fish King." Heavenly Scale Fish King? That old demon that has lived for more than 500 years? Su Yun was surprised. It should beat it? How many people did the Su family send this time? About 60. Who are they? 12 inner sect disciples. The rest are outer sect disciples. The Su family sent this kind of team. Isn't that courting death? Su Yun sneered. This team needs at least a spirit core disciple to be able to face the Heavenly Scale Fish King. This kind of team is basically sending themselves to death. I heard that this time's mission was initiated by other sections. They hope that our Su family can contribute. There are many sects that want to kill the Heavenly Scale Fish King. Our Su family is just putting up an act. When the time comes, we just need to throw a few mystical techniques. There is no need to risk our lives. Su Xianzhen wiped the blood from his nose and said, "Oh," Su Yun nodded his head. But in his heart, he remembered a treasure. Heavenly Scale Divine Eye. It was a treasure that had caused quite a commotion. The Heavenly Scale Fish King only appeared once every 500 years. Many people did not know that the eyes of the Heavenly Scale Fish King could be refined into a treasure. If one could obtain the divine eye, there would be thousands of benefits. The two inner sect disciples carefully peeked at him. They were thinking about how to leave later. Su Yun's eyes flashed. He seemed to be thinking about something. Is it compulsory to participate in this mission? Su Yun suddenly asked. Yes, everyone must participate. Those who participate can receive a set of supplies from the Su family. If you don't participate, you will be punished according to the Su family's rules. Su Xianzhen hurriedly said. Su Yun nodded his head. I understand. I will participate. That's good. Then we'll see each other in 3 days. Su Yun, we're leaving. Su Xianzhen hurriedly stood up and said with a smile. He ran to carry the unconscious Su Sanfeng and was about to leave. Stop. Suddenly, Su Yun shouted. The two of them trembled. They turned their heads and looked at Su Yun in fear. Is there anything else? Pay for the repair of the door before you leave. Su Yun pointed at the broken door lying on the ground. How much? How much do you have? I only have 400 spirit coins. What about you? Su Yun looked at the other person. I have 510 spirit coins. That person trembled. Su Yun pointed at the unconscious Su Sanfeng. First, throw the bag of spirit coins over. Su Xianzhen did not dare to delay. He quickly untied the bag of spirit coins from Su Sanfeng's waist and hurriedly threw it to Su Yun. Su Yun caught it and weighed it for a while. Then he said, I still need 910 spirit coins to repair the door. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.